My name is Shonda Stovall. I am the president of the Richmond County Board of Education. We are here tonight for our Facilities Master's Plan conversation, our community conversation, where we'll be discussing Josey, Jenkins, White, Murphey Middle School. We are here this evening and have questions that will be facilitated by Mr. Tracy Richter and Dr. Melinda Cobb. There she is, our superintendent. And afterwards, we will have a Q&A session that will be facilitated by Mr. Michael Myers. We will have an opportunity for you to ask your questions, for you to have the information. All of the information that we will have presented will be right up here on our screen so that you can also see and hear what is being said. As of right now, though, we are going to have our presentation of colors by the Josey ROTC. Please stand. We will have our Pledge of Allegiance by Cadet Johnson.
Gentlemen, please remove your caps. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and liberty and justice for all. Gentlemen, you may put your caps back on, and please be seated.
Thank you, Cadet Johnson. At this time, we're going to turn this over to Mr. Tracy Richter and Dr. Melinda Cobb. We are asking that you reserve your questions to the end of time. Please take notes. You are welcome to record as well. We're asking that it's during the Q&A time, it's the time that we will have for our questions, that you may ask about anything that is presented. Our goal today is to make sure that by the time you walk out the door, you will have accurate information. We understand that people are confused about what's happening and what is proposed. Please be reminded that this is just a plan. Nothing has been voted on yet. The Richmond County Board of Education has not voted. It has not making any decisions yet. This is a plan that is presented. So all information today, it is not solidified. Amen. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Richter and Dr. Cobb. We will have you to join us at the podium.
Hello, welcome. Thanks for coming out tonight. My name is Melinda Cobb. I'm happy to be here with you all, and I want to take a moment to introduce our board members who will be here with us in this evening, and want to introduce them. So you just heard from our board president, Ms. Shonda Stovall, our board vice president, Mr. Ed Lowry, if you want to give him a wave, trustee Ms. Venus Kane, board member Ms. Shantae Boyd, board member Mary Jane Abbott, board member Samantha Valentine, and board member Charlie Walker. And if there were any other elected officials here in the audience tonight, if you want to stand and be recognized at this time, please do so. Mr. Charlie Hanna is also with us, and Mr. Hanna, if you could give a wave, he is our board member. And I can't see, Ms. Braswell? Yes, Ms. Braswell, board member Ms. Braswell is with us today as well, and Commissioner Tony Lewis. Yes, okay. And if someone can see better than me, is that Ms. Francine? Okay, and Commissioner Ms. Francine Scott, thank you. All right, I want to thank you all for coming out here today and for helping me with your eagle eyes. So I also want to just take a moment to introduce, they're going to stand up. Some of our cabinet members are here with us tonight. So if you are a part of our senior cabinet leadership, could you stand and be recognized at this time as a group? You may want to look around because you might have some questions for these folks at the very end. Also, we have invited out tonight the principals of the schools who are impacted. So if you are a school, a student who has been, if we say your new zone is going to be Laney High School, for example, Dr. Cordero Middleton is here for you to be able to meet him as well. So we have lots of staff members at the end that we're going to be able to introduce you to. With no further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Tracy Richter, who's going to talk to us about our new facility proposed plan. And board member Walter Eubanks, Mr. Eubanks, thank you for coming in. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Dr. Cobb. Well, good evening, everybody. Can you all hear me up there just fine? You good? White sweatshirt, if you can hear me, just say yes, because you're the furthest away from me. Thank you, sir. Okay, so tonight, let me introduce myself. I'm Tracy Richter. I work with a group called HPM that's been working with the district for a few years on creating longer-term visions for facilities planning. We've worked with the board over the last few years to look at how this district aligns from a facilities standpoint to align to future student enrollments and student programs. Obviously when you go through a process like this, and this district did a really heavy lift about a year and a half ago to talk about what facilities have to look like, and had the painful discussion around reducing some facilities in the district. And part of that discussion results in the board approval of a long-range facilities plan that now we have to start implementing. And the implementation of the plan, and if you've heard me present this before in the past, that as hard as the planning could have been, and a lot of hard discussions that we had, and in this community too, sometimes the hardest part is to implement it, is to get it going, and making sure that we're in the right place where we need to be. And again, I think what the board did a couple of years ago was kind of took a different look at how to look at facilities from a longer term vision. I hear a lot about, well, we used to have this and now you're bringing it back, but why'd you close it 10 years ago? Well, I think part of that is that trying to look out to the future about what this district needs and trying to anticipate those needs, first of all, is very difficult. We all know that. There's things that can change education very quickly. There's also things that can change our demographics very quickly too. And so what I'm going to take you through tonight is I'm going to take you a little bit of background of why decisions had to get to where they needed to get to. And not that it makes anybody any happier that those decisions got made, but there's reasons why you move in a direction you go to. And then for those of you who, we did have a luncheon today with Josey alumni, and I see a lot of you here again tonight. Thank you for being here again. People all afternoon has asked me how it went, and I'm like, it went as it should have went. It went with people coming with concerns, people having angst, people being frustrated. And part of this is that, that has to come out in this process. We all know that, and we're here because of that anxiety out there. And look, if the words didn't want to be heard, first of all, the board wouldn't be sitting here. We wouldn't host these community meetings. They just do it. And so I understand the issues with, past transparency and past trust, but we're trying to get to this idea where we're trying to communicate as much as we can and answer any questions that we can. And you still will probably have some questions afterwards, but what we want you to know is that even after the Q&A session, you see all these these signs out here. All these people behind these signs can help you with some of those questions that you might have more specifically about the programs, whether it's transportation, whether it's about funding, whether it's about student programs. And we want you to walk out of here with as many answers as you can tonight. So let me kind of take you through some of the background of where the district has been. So when we went back in the last process, we had a lot of community meetings, and some of those community meetings went more specific. We came out and we met with, again, the Josey alumni group. We met with some other specific school groups that were impacted by this most. We did larger community meetings. We did a lot of surveying. And we had a lot of one-on-ones. People that would come to board retreats and talk to us and all those. But what we wanted to make sure is that we were trying to get as much input as we could as we went through the process. And again, always knowing that the district had to make some adjustments and not every decision was going to be a popular decision out there. But the intent was to try to make sure that we were trying to preserve as much as we could, pay attention to those things that matters to Richmond County schools in specific neighborhoods, and go out and try to hear those voices. But what we knew that, and it still exists today, and look, I don't think it's many of you know my background. I've been doing this a long time around this country, and in Georgia specifically, but the dynamics of public schools has changed so dramatically, and the impacts on public schools, that everybody shares a lot of these issues. And so when we know that we have so much facilities that our dollars go to bricks and mortar and not kids, that's a problem. When the dollars aren't going to programs, they're going to heating bills and lighting bills, that's a problem. And we need to make sure that we're getting our facilities aligned to where students are, where they're going to be, and how those programs support those kids. Aging buildings and expensive buildings, trying to take care of buildings. It's no secret the cost of construction and repairing buildings. You see it in your own homes, and it's difficult and more difficult to maintain this portfolio of facilities. Declining enrollment. Nobody wants to hear this. But the fact of the matter is declining enrollment is a fact of education in today's world. It's not just in public education, it's in charter schools, it's in private schools. The fact of the matter is we don't have as many kids today as we did 10 years ago coming into our school systems. Birth rates are at a 50-year low in this country, and they don't anticipate to rise anymore. And on top of that, what's happened in our current economic condition is that our houses that used to kind of turn over and generate kids again aren't turning over right now. People aren't selling their homes, they're staying in their homes because it's not affordable to go somewhere else anymore. And so what you see as a result of that, and on top of that, when you see that there's disinvestment in public housing and the housing disappears and nobody reinvests when cities or municipalities can't reinvest in those neighborhoods that kind of strip you of your enrollment, those things all impact everything we're doing. And I'd like to tell you that's turning around. But right now, it's not turning around. And it's not turning around for most school districts out there. But what we do know is that sometime it will turn around. We know that something will happen that will spur enrollment someday again. So we need to make sure our facilities are aligned, not to go so far down that we don't have any space, but to make sure it's aligned for future growth also. But it's a balance. Inequitable program distribution. We heard a lot about this, about we don't have the programs other schools have. And that still continues today. And part of that is all tied to enrollment. Having enough kids in buildings to make sure that you can afford those programs that kids need. I'm going to show you a little bit about how the district is trying to alleviate some of that, but they can't make it all work. And also then trying to just maximize state dollars, and I think this is a big part of the conversation. As we looked at population, we knew that what's interesting about, kind of Richmond County is that there's been an increase of population, but there's been an inverse relationship to enrollment. We're getting more people, but less kids. And so when you see housing developments come in, those housing developments, they're generating kids, but it's not enough to offset the loss of kids that we've gotten in the past. And so we've got to balance the two there. The historical enrollment of this district has shown steady decline. Again, not a secret name. I don't have to put Richmond County Schools on this. This is every district in the past 5 years I've worked with. And I don't mean to compare you against others, but we have to go to the new norm. We have to make sure that we don't have so much space out there that we're paying for space instead of kids. And so part of the decision that the board, and those tough decisions that the board had to wrestle with, and the future boards will have to wrestle with, is exactly that. We heard today a lot about tax rates. We heard about how much taxes you're paying and they're not going down. This isn't helping. Maintaining buildings that don't have kids in them only keep your tax rates high. And it continues to go down that direction. When we're staffing in a way that the state doesn't fund our schools to the maximum potential and the burden comes on you, it doesn't help your tax rate. So we have to figure out how we minimize some of that impact that's on the local community and make sure that we're getting our fair share of that. And so as I look at the projected enrollment, the good news is that we see some stabilization, but the fact of the matter is that the big enrollments are already through. We've got far less kindergartners today than we did 5 years ago. And those birth rates and the disinvestment in housing, in public housing and affordable housing, has attributed to that. And so the school board has to react to those kind of norms out there that occur. Now, again, the other thing we hear a lot about is that we haven't invested in some schools. And the fact of the matter is that we really have. So I'm going to take you through this chart, and this is online so you can see it, but I want to explain it really quickly. This earned number right here, this earned number is when you have students walking in the door, the state funds the students at a certain rate. And the state says, for instance, at Josey, and I could pull any of them out, that based on the allocation of how state funds your schools, they will pay for 43 positions in the school. Problem is, it doesn't support all your programs because there's not enough kids in there to support the programs that are necessary. And so locally, you all fund 60 positions, 17 extra positions, 100% of them are on the local taxpayer. You're paying for that. And you know what? It's not a bad thing you're paying for it because they're providing the services for the kids in here. And maybe at 1 or 2 schools that's okay, but if you just look at these 3 schools, and I'm not just pulling out these 3 schools, but if you go across the district in some of these cases, if you look at 17, 19, and 19, that's 56 local positions you're paying for out of your pocket that the state doesn't fund. And in the same light, we hear we're paying too much taxes. And so it's trying to balance the two. The state, the district wants to put these people. You need 5 paraprofessionals at Josey High School. Absolutely. And the district's not going to take them away. But they're not pulling resources out. They're actually adding resources in to try to maintain some programmatic equity across the district. So I know that you get frustrated that programs aren't the same across buildings, but part of the reason is we can't stretch that much further. And so the district has to deal with this. We use this chart a lot that if you look at kind of the way the state staffs things, that schools that are under, let's say at the high school, under 1,000, the gray positions are positions that don't get funded by the state for under 1,000 kids. But look what happens when schools get to 1,500. It's fully staffed. All CTAE, all fine arts, all athletics, all PE, all special ed. That all gets funded by the state. And so I think that, not that your schools will ever, we're not going to get your schools to 1,500 at the high school level, but the closer we get to that 1,500 level, the better that staffing becomes. And the less burden on the local taxpayer you have. And so, look, I don't want to make this, and I will tell you, I'm an educator, my whole life I'm an educator. I don't want to make this about the business side of the world. But the fact of the matter is that you have to run a good business to teach kids. You have to staff and spend your money the right way, or otherwise the kids do get cheated. And so we want to make sure that there's got to be a balance between the two. Maintaining a good budget, getting the right staff in the right schools, and maximizing the dollars that come in. Now, what I'm going to take you through, all you Josey folks that were here earlier today, this presentation looks a little different because I got Jenkins White and I got Murphey to talk about tonight too. So bear with me a little bit. I'm going to get to Josey in a minute, but the first thing is we're going to talk about kind of the movement that happens as a result of the decisions. Okay, so with Jenkins White coming offline next year, where will the students go? With Murphey next year, and how does Josey in the transition work too? I'm going to walk you through that, but first and foremost, I want you to see this. The student locator on here, if you can look at that, but I think it's online. You can go to the district website and see this, and you can put on there. But if you put your address on there, it's called a school locator. You put your address in there, it will show you your current boundary and where the proposed boundary will be based on tonight's presentation. Okay, it's a pretty easy tool to work with. Just put your address in and you can see it immediately. Okay, so I want to leave that up for just a second because I think that's important because it will help clarify maybe where. Because tonight in some of the presentation, I'm going to show you like where NPUs are, the planning units are, but it might not be that clear. So the recommendations for Jenkins White. Now Jenkins White, again, here we've looked at a part of the city where the public housing has completely gone away. They've been in a process of that for the last couple of years, and now we don't have any students where they were just 2 years ago. And right now, no plan of have the reinvestment in any time soon. First and foremost, the Jenkins White property is going to stay as a part of the district property, and it has to. Because the first thing that could happen in a city like Augusta is that part of the city can come back again. We want to make sure we have space for that, okay? And so that property will remain part of the Richmond County School Board. Now, overall, there's a lot of shifts out of Jenkins White, and the reason for that is that over time, the Jenkins White kind of boundary has taken a lot of different moves. Historically, you've been here a while, but over the last 40 years, it's been offline, it's been online, it's kind of moved around a little bit. But what we've tried to do is we've tried to reassign students to their closest neighborhood school. And as you do that, you can see that the students are going to go to different schools in this case. They'll go to Haynes, they'll go to Hornsby Elementary, they'll go to Wilkinson Gardens, and some will go to Lamar Village. And so as you move forward in this, I'm just going to take you through part of it. Part of the group that will go into the Haynes boundary are going to be this NPU 41, and you can see that there's 29 kids, or about 30 pre-K 5 kids, that will move to that boundary. And so Haynes will gain 30 kids into the facility. Into Hornsby, you see there's 60 pre-K kids, and there's one of those NPUs that occur, and it's just a small piece. And what's interesting about the planning units out here is regardless of how small the planning unit might look, a really small planning unit could have a lot more kids in it just because of where the housing is. And so there'll be 60 kids that will go to Hornsby Elementary, okay? Now, the other piece to this is that, remember that chart I showed you when it showed how many kids in a building, like at elementary school under 450, what we get out of this is Hornsby and Haynes go to a higher enrollment that secures their enrollment for a really long time. We've got the elementary schools, so you know this. That hard process that this community went through about a year and a half ago, at the elementary grade level, we're pretty much where we can be. We're gonna, the future East Boston construction programs are gonna talk about reinvestment and rebuilding elementary schools, but they're not gonna talk necessarily about school closure anymore because we've got the capacity where we need the capacity to be. And we've got some room for growth out there. But the key is that we had to get those enrollments to that, try to get them to that 450 number to maintain that solid enrollment and funding for each school. So at Hornsby, they get 60 students. Then into Lamar Village, there's about 88 students from that area. And again, we have some more in here that will go from Hornsby into Lamar Village. We had to do a domino. And again, what you find in this is that, and what we found in this is that we're finding several students after this move will actually be closer to the new elementary school than they are currently today. There's some that won't, but there's a lot that will be closer just because of how the boundaries for Jenkins White have been made over time and where those other elementary schools are located. And then finally, into Wilkinson Gardens, we've got 99 students that are going to go into the Wilkinson Gardens out of that. Now, once again, this is based on this year's student enrollment. And what this year's student enrollment still shows are some students that live in that housing development that has been closed down, and it includes those kids still, but they've already moved. There's no housing there left, and so they're already somewhere else, and they've been displaced because of housing. And so, again, there's a lot of movement here, and if anybody's here from Jenkins White tonight and part of that family, stay with us tonight if you can, if you want to a little bit, and we can walk you through and go to the school locator with you and help you kind of navigate that. This is, to me, this Jenkins White one of the reasons that we waited another year on Jenkins White was because of the complexity of this move. Ideally, when you do something like this for an elementary school, you want to try to move as many of those kids together as you can. And the fact of the matter is the way this boundary's been kind of beat up over time and the historical kind of reconstitution of it, and it's not the last school board or the school board before that, it's kind of 50 years of the district just kind of adjusting. This finds a way to get those students closer to those schools, as close as they can, but it does redistribute to 4 different elementary schools. And folks, I'm going to tell you, it's not ideal, but we felt like we would do a disservice if we brought kids all the way from the southern part of Jenkins to an elementary school way across and crossing schools to get there. And so, once again, students, so you know this, when students are reassigned to a boundary, students have opportunities for reassignment if they want. It's House Bill 251 that allows students to apply for transfers if they want to, and I know that doesn't happen a lot at elementary schools, but if they find that programmatically or more geographically or even where parents work, then they should take advantage of figuring out if you want reassignment, okay? And the board will help you with that, okay? The school district will help you with that. So we'll move on to Josey and the Murphey conversation also. And we covered a lot of this today, but I want to be sure, and we're not going to cover everything we covered today, but I want to give you some of the existing things that are out there. So the board decision in the recommendation in December of 24 was to take Josey High School and turn it into a comprehensive high school focused on career and technical education, but also be a comprehensive high school. And a comprehensive high school means it would act like any other high school. And the difference between this comprehensive career and college academy and high school, the difference is that this school would not be a school that is a test-in school. It'll be a school of interest. If students want to attend it, they can attend it. If they want to, but here's the difference is that the idea is that it's going to become a district-wide, which means the boundaries will go away. But that doesn't mean that the Josey community can't go to that. They're right here. And so it becomes just a district-wide boundary instead of a local boundary in the effort to make sure that the enrollment on this campus is going to be a sustainable enrollment over time and offer state-of-the-art programs that students can be a part of. And so there's a lot of thought and curriculum discussion going in right now about what kind of staffing, the programs that are going to be implemented. And you know, those are going to be online for you to see. But there's ideas of already partnerships out there. Things like the early childhood program will have a daycare center, a functional daycare center for the community. The hospitality police will have a front of the store and back of the store restaurant for the community to use, where students are learning real life application of these career skills. And the list goes on and on. And if you want to see, actually, if you want to come up here, you can look at what the floor plan concept looks like. But in order to do this, the part of that will be the comprehensive high school part will be the Murphey Middle School section. And so that will become the classroom component of this career center at the Josey School. And so as that happens, we know that this is where the tough part happens, is that we have to get through this transition. And the students in the building, they are impacted most. Because right now, if the plan, the way it's proposed is that the students that are in there today, and so those rising 9th, 10th, and 11th graders, the 12th graders will graduate, so the 3 grades that remain for next year will be reassigned to another high school. And I know that's the tough part here. Now, we've had a lot of discussion around this, and we had a lot of discussion in the noon meeting today about this. Are there other alternatives we can explore? And we will explore small alternatives. We had questions about, can you leave all of them together and take them to one school? Can you just keep them together and graduate them out? We were asked those questions to explore those questions. And so know that we are working on that. Even the board members are requesting that kind of information to make sure that we make the right decision in this transition time. It's going to take 2 years to reconstruct this school building. Now, dispel any rumors. The football stadium's not going away. Actually, you're getting a new turf field. Why would we tear up a new turf field? Football stadium stays. The basketball arenas stay. All this infrastructure for athletics stays here. Now, the question about athletics is still going to be there, but the district has made clear for this, and I want to make it very clear, that the intent is, how do you do athletics at a comprehensive career and technical high school, because we have the infrastructure to do it, but working with the students in the community to determine what athletics looks like for the future of Josey. Basketball teams, football teams, soccer teams, whatever it is. But how do you make it so that tradition and legacy of athletics at Josey still remains? Okay, and so part of that is having that discussion, but in these 2 years of new construction, right now, those students would go to the other schools. Now, again, like I said today, We heard some suggestions on can we explore other alternatives. And in the next few weeks, we're going to do just that. We're going to see if there's anything we can do to do that. Okay? So we're going to explore the idea because in the Murphey Middle School, we have about 650 capacity at that building. Can that hold it? But one thing that we shared with the group, and just to be clear, is that if we just kind of graduate them out, like if we take them to one building and just have 10th, 11th, and 12th next year, and then the following year just have 11th and 12th, and then the last year just have 12th grade, what the concern is that by the time you get down to 200 or 250 kids, those students don't have the teams, the clubs, all that when it's just a 12th grade school. So the idea was that these students do still have the programmatic opportunities as you move forward. Now, much like board president said, none of these decisions are finalized. And we're here to hear those concerns. Okay? But as I show you tonight where those reassignments go, that's based on what we're looking at tonight. And as you look forward. So I think the easiest way to explain the reassignment of Murphey and Josey High School kids that will be those rising kids. So next year's what 7th and 8th graders at Murphey, where they go, or next year's 10th, 11th, and 12th graders. That if they live in the Bayvale Elementary boundary, but attend Murphey or Josey, so in that Bayvale Elementary boundary, because remember, high school boundaries are made up of elementary boundaries. If they live in that Bayvale, the new feeder will be the students that go from Murphey will go to the brand new Langford Tutt building, brand new facility, just built. And then that feeder then would go to ARC. Students that live in Wheelus Road feeder would change to the Richmond Hill Butler High School, and then those in Wilkinson Gardens boundary would then feed into the Hornsby Laney High School. And so what this does is it redistributes those students into those schools. And so I think what happens here is our minds go to a lot of different things about programs the kids are already in, athletics they're already in. Look, just as important in high school, your friend network and social network you're in. Those are important aspects too. And so keeping in mind that when a district goes through, let's talk about athletics just for a second, that when the district goes through a boundary change and a mandated boundary change, any athlete that walks into that school on a district mandated change is automatically eligible. They don't have to take a year off. And I know that's a concern for a lot of people because when students transfer as an athlete in a traditional way, they have to sit out a year. Not in this case. They can participate the following year, so that's not the case. Incoming freshmen, 9th graders, they can go wherever they want anyway. They don't become ineligible because it's their first year of eligibility. So the new feeders kind of look like this, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that, but you can see one of the goals of this district was to make sure that we keep whole elementaries together going to middle schools and whole middle schools going to high schools. We don't want to take an elementary school and split it to 2 middle schools. We're trying to keep those cohorts together as best we can. But in the student transition, this is kind of a summary of the schools they would go to in what we're presenting tonight. And again, what we want to hear about is some of those concerns or questions you might have about those. But understanding that additional resources for transition will be there. The district is going to make the investment in these transition years for services, student services, for security, for resource officers, for guidance counselors. They're going to make those investments to get through the transition where necessary. And then for faculty and staff, I know this is a big concern. We have staff that have been in these schools for a really long time. And so a lot of times, that's as impactful as student transition. The teacher transition can be that, and it can be stressful. But Richmond County has a continued need for the staff that they have. There's always attrition in a district, right? And so, but there's still a need to serve all the kids. Now, how they get funded when they get put together looks different. But putting the teachers all in one building and having the right enrollment gets them there. Staff, as best we can, will predominantly follow the student. And so, as best we can, distribute so programmatically our kids are seeing teachers that they've seen in the past. They're also committed to try as best they can to maintain the continuity that's there. And again, Kind of difficult in a couple of years of transition of that. Also, so what happens is that the Board of Education hosts an internal job fair for those teachers. They get a selection of where they want to go. They're given, right now the process is they're given their top 3 choices, and they prioritize based on where the faculty wants to go and follow. Some of it's going to be based on programmatic need, about where they go. And serving the kids. And that's ultimately what that's about, making sure the staff is where the kids are to serve the kids. So if you look at the happens next in the facilities, construction would happen and start immediately this summer. So those of you who aren't familiar with what the plan is for the Josey campus is that the existing high school building, the Marion Barnes would stay, okay, and it's going to remain open. The Murphey building stays. The gymnasium stay, and then the competition gym and the Murphey gym stay in there. And then there's an expansion of cafeteria. So all of this front of building is all going to be brand new. So the front of the building is all brand new, and the old high school classrooms and all that comes down. Now that starts immediately. And so the construction is thought to start on June 1. And if we don't meet our construction date for that, the intent is to get this building open by fall of 2028, 2 years. Now, that's an ambitious goal, and it has to happen on a June 1 start date. And so as you go through some of this, I think some of the questions that get asked are about, well, can you just leave the Josey component and the Murphey here? Well, right now we have $43 million invested into this site for the Josey community. $43 million that will go into this school building. And there's also some money in there for some touch-up of the Murphey space, although it's not that old, to make sure that that space is just refreshed to meet the new building. But if we were to keep both on campus, we would need more classrooms to the tune of $20 to $30 more million. And so that's why the Murphey section of the building becomes an important part of the comprehensive high school discussion in this. But in order to make that work, and stay within the SPLOST dollars that you voted for, that is the schedule to get to where we need to get to. And so I'm not going to make you look at this timeline, but the timeline is outlined in this presentation that's online, and you can see kind of right now where the plan is to start this to happen. So as we look at the next few next weeks, I guess, coming up here, is that we have more community hearings. We've got a community meeting on the 26th for a Barton Chapel community, building new elementary, but consolidating elementaries over by Barton Chapel. On the 27th is another full district meeting. I believe that's at the board office, is that right? So that one's at the board office on the 27th. To come back, if you have more questions or more concerns, come back to that 27th meeting. The board's been under review. We showed a first version to the board on the 17th of December in their public meeting. So they've seen this. They know what the timeline is, but their review goes into February to make a decision in February unless they decide they can't make a decision yet and look a little further if they have to. And so, but that's the current plan as the board starts to look at this. The other thing that will be taking place is that in February through November, the district has already established and invited community members into what we're calling a community high school task force. And that community high school task force over the next 8 or 10 months, sole task is to figure out what high schools are going to look like based on this cornerstone of this career in college at Josey, what the district's going to look like from a high school perspective in the future. And so that we're going to work with community members, come back out to the community to talk about what the future of high schools looks like in Richmond County. Because there's still a big discussion to have there. We're still not getting all the programs to the kids we need. We still need to get more resources into these buildings. And so we need to get the high schools where they need to be, but this site right here and the Josey community is a cornerstone of that. The reason $43 million are going here, because we believe that to our core, that this is the premise of how high schools can look in the future. And so this has to be a critical part of our discussion even as we move forward. And it's intended to get this campus back to that 800,000 student enrollment, to keep this site and keep Josey right where it's been for years. And so it's just going to have a broader look and a deeper program offering for the students of this area and for the district. So as we look at that, remember that this district's going to continue to plan. They're never going to stop planning. They're never going to stop looking at things. And some will be a lot better, not a lot better kind of results than having to close buildings. The goal is that we need to change the conversation is when we reinvest in these buildings, what are we going to give more to the kids? And so we got to get to that point though. And this community's been through the hard part. And the next part's this implementation. We get through this district is going to be set from a facility standpoint, and you can focus where we all need to focus. Back in the programs, back in the classrooms, back with the kids. And so, and where it should be all the time. So as we look at this, I'm going to turn it back over to Michael, and he's going to kind of walk you through the public comment piece and how we're going to go through Q&A tonight. And I'm going to, again, much like today, I'm going to answer questions when I can. But I've got experts here that can answer questions. I think in some of this you're going to see that we're just going to hear some comment and some questions that we might not be able to respond to right now, but we're going to keep a frequently asked questions and record all of it to make sure we get those answers back. So, Mike, I'm going to turn it over to you. Are you ready? You good? And he's going to help facilitate how we go through that. So, thanks again for being here. Thanks for kind of the patience of walking through this with me. And I look forward to the questions and comments that we're going to hear.
Thanks, Tracy. Real quick, if anybody still has comment cards that would like to turn in, put them up. We're going to have people come around and get them. We have some already. But if there anybody else that has comment cards, that way we can know who to recognize as far as getting in comments and questions. We'll take care of that. Now, anybody else? If you still need a comment card, there's some in the back. You can raise your hand. Somebody can get one to you. We can take care of that as well. Thank you so much. Okay. All right. Oh, a few more right there. All right. We're wrapping, getting that taken care of. She's handing them to me, so she's. You got your card. Oh, that's a part of the comments, the comment cards. That's why that way we can call people up. That way I will have a yes, sir. That way I can have some direction in reference to. She got them. He's passed them out right there. That way we can have some direction in reference to getting through the comments and things to that effect. And we're going to go ahead and get started. There's a Miss Barbara. I also ask that you come up here. That way we can try to make sure that the court recorder has opportunity to be able to record. But let me make sure I do this. As it relates to public comments, guidelines, listen, we need everyone's help with this, all right? Check it out. Comment cards required. That's a big thing. That's why we're asking for you, make sure you do this. To speak, you must complete and submit a public comment card. We also ask one opportunity per person. Each individual may speak once during the meeting. Focus on the plan, all right? I understand we are all here. We're all passionate about what's going on in our community. We all want to speak from the heart, but let's make sure we understand that this is, at the end of the day, we're all here because of the children. All right, comments should address the presented plan. Off-topic remarks may be ended by the moderator. We try not to make this a personal attack on anyone. Respectful conduct. Please, no shouting, no personal attacks, or disruptive behavior. Please remain courteous to all participants. We also ask that you use the microphone. This is very important. That way we can make sure that all this stuff is recorded. And as it relates to questions and comments, if something is not answered, we're going to provide you with a QR code, email address, and information so that you will be able to submit your question. We have a link online that provides you with the opportunity to drop a question in. Inside that question, the frequently asked questions will remain up. We're going to make sure that people have opportunity to see what people have asked, things that people want to discuss. If it's a personal question, those should be directed. They have an email for that direction. You're going to hear from us. After the meeting, there's plenty of staff here. We're going to stay as long as we need to speak to people individually. This afternoon at lunch, we started at 12. Some of us didn't leave till after 3, right? Because we wanted to make sure we spoke to everyone that wanted to ask a question. A lot of people had direct questions, some specific questions, especially when it came to their personal student. So those questions won't go up online because that's just you. That's a personal question. So we want to make sure that we can address those things individually. I'm here to enforce the rules, make sure that we are doing what's needed to get through this evening. Again, some comments we will respond to immediately. Tracy is here. We have some people here that are industry professionals that are going to be helpful to us in that manner, okay? Ms. Thomas, Barbara Thomas. Oh, Ms. Thomas, you're number 1, come on. Oh yeah, come on. Oh, you just want to answer? Oh, okay. So she just wants me to read her question. Her question is, will the new Josey High have an athletic department and a music department, like band and chorus?
Let me get this so I can do it. Is that on? Is that good?
Can't get out. It's stuck on the ground down here too. Hold on.
All right, well, I'm just going to do this. It's a great question because I think that's where we get a lot of questions. It's a comprehensive high school. Arts, athletics will be a part of it. And the reason we haven't kind of gone out and said which ones, the intent is to work with the community to do that. So it's a comprehensive high school that's going to have fine arts and it's going to have some athletic, whatever the athletics look like. So I think it's a great question. Thank you for that.
Here's another mic. She says,
is that better?
What is the answer?
Oh, so, okay, you didn't hear it? Okay, there will be athletics, there will be fine arts. I'm sorry. Band, oh yeah, I'm sorry, I couldn't hear band. Thank you, yeah. So, and yeah, it's a comprehensive high school, so we want to make sure that all those offerings are for all kids as you walk in.
Right. So and I don't want to mess this up. Last name Melton, I can't understand the first name. Last name Melton wants to make a comment. Last name Melton. Look, say it again. Lagon. Oh, come on. Look, I'm sorry.
Also, that way they can be ready. It looks like Michael Hollis will be next, just to kind of prep you.
I don't have much to say. I'm offended because keep saying Josey. That's Thomas Walter. Dr. Thomas Walter. Josey. We'll stand for that. Don't keep saying Josey. This is Dr. Thomas Walter Josey. And I'm going to pass this on to Mr. J.R. Riley because he's a benefit to our community and he supports the school. I want him to speak on my behalf.
I just want to say one thing. The schools in the black community have been neglected. When they rezone the students, they rezone all the students from Laney and Josey. All the students went to Richmond from the bottom. They bypassed Laney and went to Richmond. All the students out in West Augusta, out where I live at, they bypassed Josey and they went to Richmond. Now they go on the west side. Something wrong. Seems like they're trying to. Josey got a history. It would no longer be a high school. We won't have nothing to see by Josey. But Josey is the second black school in Richmond County. Yeah. Josey got more rank over Glen Hill and Butler and all the rest of them. So if you don't speak up now, when you go to poll, remember the people who represent you. Because they ain't doing what they doing. They ain't doing their job. They just rubber stamping everything. So they don't rubber stamp Josey out. So you can forget about it. Don't care what your comments be tonight. Those 7 black people, what you got represent you, Ain't about nothing.
Mr. Hollis. Michael, that's you? Come on. Yeah. Oh, hold on one second, Mr. Hollis. Let me get Tracy to clarify something. Come on. Come on. He wanted to clarify athletics. You want to?
Just very quickly,
yes,
yeah.
go ahead.
I think one of the things I wanted to clarify is that
How you doing?
we want to be sure, and the reason there's no specifics on athletics right now, we really want it to be student-driven, okay? And so that kind of input about what it's going to look like and everything. But remember, the infrastructure's still here for all of it. And so we want it to be a student-driven discussion about what this looks like. And so including those students in those conversations about what this is going to look like is an important piece to this. Sorry. Hi, Ms. Rollins.
How you doing? My name is Michael Hollis. I live in West Augusta also. My concerns are during the transition period from, you said Jenkins White to Murphey, where is there going to be a liaison to making sure that these children, students, have a smooth transition? Also, what are we going to do with the special ed department? When they're not getting their services now, how are you going to fund that? That's my concern.
Okay, so let me answer the first question. I will tell you that one of the reasons that you don't get all the special ed services because they're stretched so thin. We're serving way too many buildings to get our teachers together to serve our special education needs. And that's a fact. And a lot of school districts deal with that. So one of the ideas is if you can get more students together in there, your teachers can support the program. So the idea is to pay attention to special ed along with every other program, and especially special ed. So I think that's a great question of that concern. The second thing is, will there be liaison? So I think the district, in last year's, because remember, they closed buildings last year too. One of the things the district did was went to every school building and even in the receiving schools was to make sure that there was clear communication about what they were getting at the new buildings, how transportation was going to work, and the staffing that was going to be in those buildings. And so there will be a direct effort to those schools and those students to do that. So the answer is yes.
So real quick, let me thank you so much. Let me address that.
Does that answer that?
Let me address that last part in reference to the liaison part. So in recent days, speaking with the school board members, one of the main concerns was making sure that there was a level of communication if and when these projects decide to go forward. Understand this, they are, let me speak very frankly and freely in reference to what they have addressed and said. They are going to make sure there is open communication if this happens to keep people informed of what's happening next, and making sure that there are people in schools so that the students understand what happens next and where they go and how it moves forward. This was one of the top priorities if this was to happen. Remember, this is still a proposed project, still a plan. That is, I'm getting a lot of, I'm sorry, I wear hearing aids. That is a priority moving forward. So to answer that question, absolutely. That is going to happen. That is top priority. Remember, students first. This is the top priority for them. So that is definitely something that's going to happen. We want to make sure that moves forward. All right. Ronald Young. We have to.
Thank you, sir. I noticed that my origins are being disappeared from me. I originated from the old Levi White in the 60s. And I originated from the Josey in 75. Just observed 50 years last year. Now, what was stated by Mr. Riles has concrete. I've heard enough to see that the gentleman right here was talking to stats and all that. I want to know, and like the other gentleman said, what's going to be my name right here in the next 2 years? What's going to be my name? Tell me my name.
talking, sorry. Yeah, thank you. All right, so what was proposed today, and I will tell you, this is, and let me take you through to the lunch meeting today, okay? I'm with you.
Let's just cut it short.
That-
What will be my name?
So I have to answer it this way because it's the same thing I walked the community through today, and I don't want to get the message different, okay? I need to be consistent. So right now, and we got pushback on this to re-explore this, that according to board policy, whether it's been practiced in the past or not, according to board policy, there is a naming committee that comes out of the community, okay? And so the community goes through a naming effort. It's not, obviously, the recommendation from the community will be T.W. Josey that comes out, but it's up to the community to get that. It's like checking the box on a board policy. A lot of the alumni today were talking to us about, can we just say it's going to be the name it is today? And so that's the message I'm taking back to the board today. Okay, so we had that discussion today, but that's what was delivered today. According to board policy, you have to have the committee, but they were very clear today. Can we waive that and just go forward with the name? So we got that from the community.
To the community
Right?
in that commission. Let me just settle it for you. Thomas Walter Josey Comprehensive High School. We can save some money. We don't have to have no more meetings. And I know that we're going through a socioeconomic right here in this nation. But just save some time, some money. Thomas Walter Josey Comprehensive High School. And that's it.
Thank you for that. Thank you.
All right. Dr. Williams, his card was next up here.
First of all, thank you for the opportunity to stand here, and I'm glad I'm hearing that the name should be, without doubt, Thomas Walter Josey School. Let me give you a little bit of history, and I hear the stats, and I hear how we can make anything sound any way we want it to sound. I get that. I've been around enough people to know that you can compile some evidence or some information and make it seem whatever. I heard there's not enough students. I heard there's not enough money. The federal government not going to do that. But let me go back and remind us that we closed Osceola Collins Elementary School along with the other school on Turpin Hill, Tut School. We closed several of the schools in the inner city. And I heard this young man say that children not being born, we're not raising any children out of these communities. Well, my term on the Augusta Commission, I learned that the city is not doing anything with the school board to generate no families to come back in here. Now, first of all, let's talk real talk. First of all, in order for people to move back into a community, you can't expect for a graduate of T.W. Josey or any other school to come out of the hood and go back into the hood when you left it like it was when I left there. Now, there are components now that they're going to build Habitat for Humanity houses on Grand Boulevard. I didn't even go to the meeting because I was so upset I knew I couldn't be quiet. I'm not against Habitat for Humanity, but if you build a Habitat for Humanity, who else going to build something else besides that back in there? So you're keeping to keep people where they've been all the time, and that's down. If we want to grow the system, we want to grow the students in the school, we got to put some effort back into the school. You can't move, no one's going to move out of a shotgun house and move back in that same shotgun house and raise their kid. As if Augusta is going down. I had a call from someone from the Augusta Chronicle, and they said the same thing this gentleman said Augusta was going down. Said people are moving from Augusta, they're moving in other counties. So I asked the question, I said, well, what are they doing with the property they're moving from? Are they selling it? Yeah, they're selling it. I say, well, if they moving and they're selling it, how can it be going down? It's because they're selling to black folks? He said, oh, no, that's not it. I said, well, wait a minute now. You said they're moving. If they're selling the property and somebody's buying it, then there had to be somebody else moving that same property. but we're not investing anything in our kids or our neighborhoods to make the kids be the type kids we need to have. I miss a lot of stuff, but I don't miss that. I really want to make sure that the name is going to stay. I know some changes are going to come, but the name don't need to be voted on by the community. The name need to remain the same. And why? Because that's history. If you change the name, you're changing history. Now, we don't have very much, no way, but those two schools, in fact, Laney was the only school that we could graduate from for many, many years. All I'm saying is that I appreciate what the board is trying to do. I appreciate the change that's going to come. But don't give me those figures and those statistics you don't put together to make it sound like we doing something. Yeah, listen, those days are over with. We ain't farming no more. We walked off the farm. We ain't on the farm no more. You go to the farm and tell us anything and we'll buy it, but we ain't buying that today. So all I'm saying is the name ought to be Dr. Thomas Walter Josey Comprehensive High School, if you're going to be a name. That's all the history we got. Everything else is gone. Everything else is gone. And if we don't hold on to that, we don't hold on to anything. Now, I didn't like the fact that we brought in the elementary school into high school, but that happened, okay? But if we don't say nothing, you won't get nothing. Now, trust me. And if you sit there and let this meeting go and don't say nothing else, they say, and I heard Mike say, oh, but they're going to be keeping you informed. But once the train gets to rolling, you can't stop it now. It's already rolling. You better make sure you know what you're doing. That's all I've got to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Ray. So another question that came was, what's going to happen to the JRTC program? You want to address that? I know we somewhat addressed it already, but I just want to make, Haley, you got that, the cards?
Yeah, so I think on the program side, again, in the reassignment idea is that the program that's offered at the new school to join that junior ROTC. But again, the intent for the comprehensive high school is it's student driven, is that these schools, that our comprehensive schools have junior ROTCs, and they have those kind of things. That's a student-driven decision. That's a great decision, and thank you for that. That come from you guys, and I appreciate that. And so, again, the idea is that to get through the construction period, again, of a $43 million investment right here to invest in this community. It's not to disinvest in this community, because you're right. The housing's not doing it. School district's got to be the start, and the impetus is $43 million right in the center of your neighborhood. And I think that with that programmatically is to keep those programs that keep kids in a career direction like that, much like that. And that's part of it. So, again, part of the programmatic drive of this is giving the kids what they need to both not only come out of this school as a comprehensive high school, but the pathways that will be at this school are a high school diploma, that they'll also be certified in, 12 different areas that we see. They can be certified and career ready to go into those. They can graduate in those programs with associate's degrees, which means they can go to college and save 2 years of college money. That's not becoming any more affordable. Those are the opportunities that come out of this building. And just very quickly, because I do want to address the data thing, because I hear you, and I don't want to keep covering that either. My conversation should be about kids. So I agree with you. But sometimes what has happened is that we get emails, and we've gotten emails about just some information that we had to just tell people where the information was. But I appreciate that comment, so thanks for that. But ROTC, you're good. You're good. You're ROTC, junior ROTC. Oh, okay, so it's your question.
Good evening. I'm Lieutenant Colonel Barry. I'm the head of JRTC here, and we presented the colors. I've been through a lot of changes. I've seen 5 principals, and I've been here 14 years, and believe it or not, I'm the longest serving teacher aside from Mr. Tegnama. here at Josey. And I just want to say a few things here just to clarify a few things because I can't remain silent. Okay, number one, Air Force tradition. I hear a lot of tradition being talked about, and in the Air Force, we honor our traditions and legacies. Air Force JRTC was brought here at the request of the Board of Education, not the students, in 1970 because of the Augusta riots. We brought in the first Sassy, my predecessor. His name was Lieutenant Colonel Benson. He was a World War II hero, a Korean hero, and Vietnam. Like myself, 3 wars. I fought in 3 wars: Iraq, Afghanistan, and Libya. Okay? Josey JRTC is the highest performing JRTC in the county. And legacy is important. Notice I'm not wearing my Air Force JRTC uniform because I'm speaking for myself, but I don't want to advocate a political decision. And the Air Force, as all of you, have a problem with closing down traditions. We're not commies here. We don't close down traditions. JRCC is a legacy unit. In the 14 years that I've been here, we have won 4 awards. Most recently in 2023, we won the Distinguished Unit Award. Okay? We're going to have our inspection next week, and if we're on track, we should get another Distinguished Unit Award. Okay? Tradition. In the Air Force, we don't close down legacy units. We don't close down high-performing units. We don't. Josey, the high school is performing very well. And the question on the data, let's go with numbers. Okay? Yeah. Okay. Josey's, everyone maligns us. I hear it. I hear it from everybody. I hear it from the other schools. I hear the whispers. I hear all the Snapchat. Okay? I hear it. Drives me nuts because you're not working with the kids here. I'm working with them every day. Okay? Our Josey, we perform. Okay? We do the most community service hours. I've got the numbers. We're at 650. Our goal is 1,000 this year, and we're well on our way to exceed 1,000. 1,000 community service hours. Mr. Holt, I think the other Mr. Holt from Payne College, you keep asking me to do the colors at Payne College graduation. We've done it, okay? We get lots of community service and things like that. In fact, Josey JRTC goes to other counties because they don't want to do it. They ask us. We did the Columbia County Cares event, which was a high-profile event with Fox News there. We did it, okay? We did the color guard because they were all scared of it. We did it, all right? We've done other games and stuff like that in addition to our own, and we get a lot of requests for the parades. We'll be at the parade this Saturday in the cold, in Martin Luther King parade. Okay, one year we couldn't do it because we went to NASA and saw a launch that conflicted with that, and I got a lot of phone calls and messages. Why aren't you at the Martin Luther King parade? Okay, let's talk numbers. Let's talk numbers. Josey increased their graduation rate. Josey increased the CCRPI rate. We were one of the few schools, one of 43 schools in the county to do that. Okay, we also increased our reading and math scores, and our CTA, our fine arts. Ms. Stan, our fine arts, you guys increased 4% tonight. You were one of the leaders in the increase of the fine arts graduation. Okay, let's also talk numbers. Josey, CTA, which we fall under CTAE, okay? CTA has a 98% grad rate. You want to know what Josey JRTC's graduation rate is within Josey JRTC? 100%. You want to know how long it's been 100%? 14 years. Okay, my other thing I have to say right here is this. Facts. The information presented The information presented was inaccurate. It was inaccurate. Okay. This is the law, and I'm surprised you guys, the information was accurate, and that's what I don't like. I don't like half-truths being presented as the truth. According to the law, excuse me, guys, okay, according to the law, you are supposed to have 2 JRTC instructors irregardless of size. Irregardless of size, you're supposed to have 2 JRTC instructors. This was presented that, well, you only got 1. You only got 1. We have 2 now. In fact, my associate, Master Sergeant Holt, is an alumni of Josey. So, that's inaccurate information. Now, the other inaccurate information that just gets me is I don't like it where, you know, the closure is, they're going to say they're just going to reassign us. Have you talked to the Air Force about this? Have you talked to me? No, it hasn't happened. Now, this is a conversation that the Air Force needs to know about because they're expecting to come to our good unit and keep it going. Okay, so that's all I have to say with regarding that. Now, you said in your briefing, huh? Keep going? All right, okay, so, okay, all right. So no one's talked to me. In fact, if you close down Josey High School, I'm out of a job. Okay, but I like to say that, you know, every morning I wake up and everyone says you got to find your why. Well, I found my why. Okay, I have a 100% graduation rate for the last 14 years with my kids. The salutatorian or the valedictorian, one or the other, comes from Josey JRTC. Okay, so when I looked at that and I saw that my area is going to be turned to a welding shop, naturally I'm curious. You say declining enrollment. You say we need to invest in bricks and mortar. You say inequitable program distribution or inequitable program, and well, I'm sorry, I'm old school, but those are commie terms. But let's talk that. Let's talk that, okay? One of the reasons we made all these increases in our academics, in our math scores, in our reading, in our CCRPI and all that, is because the population is kind of relatively small. We have small classrooms. Not too small, but I've been around. I wander the halls. Any parent knows that I got my megaphone, and I'm doing bus duty in the morning, bus duty in the afternoon, but it's like 20 to a classroom, maybe around there. If you want to have what you propose, to have full enrollment with 30 or more kids, up to 28, the legal limit in Georgia is 28 per classroom in high school, you can't teach. You're disciplining, you're babysitting, you're not teaching. We are teaching. What's that? Keep going? Okay, so in answer, you need to get your facts correct because it's inaccurate that you didn't talk to JRTC. So there you go. There you go. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Another question that was brought up was if the company, and this was addressed in reference to rebuilding the school here, if they're willing to rebuild the school to provide new pathways, the question says, why are they not willing to still leave the name? That's your question, Tawanda.
My name is Tawanda Higgs Harris. I graduated in the class of 2001. A lot of this is mainly about a name because if they're willing, okay, granted, we do need a new building. That is true, I do agree. However, when I attended this school and when my brother attended and he graduated in '88, we had a fully functioning daycare. We had a fully functioning cosmetology center. We had all of these things. Now, in addition, you can add the other pathways, and I get that. But why are you trying to, it seems like the name is the only problem. how are you going to guarantee enrollment with the new infrastructure? How is that going to work? My second question, if, again, this is already a comprehensive high school, and again, it just seems like it's already just the name that's the issue, why don't you move the students? Well, you're talking about, when you said that they were asking about the students that's here now, 9th through 12th, to be put into a facility and graduated out until the 9th graders or 12th graders, right? If you're gonna do that, won't the new school be built during that time, when the 9th graders are 12th graders, or when the 10th graders are 11th graders?
So, yeah, I think that's a great question of clarification, and I want to make sure I'm clear on that one. So, remember, the school becomes a district-wide boundary, okay? Which means those students that are entering next year, we want the district-wide, I'm sorry, get it up here, yeah, so you can hear me. Yeah, no, you're fine. You can stay here, because I'll talk to you. It wants to be a district-wide program, okay? And those comprehensive programs, because you're right, I heard the comment about we used to have a daycare, we used to have all that. I think what's happened is that the long-term vision maybe wasn't there. We need the daycare. It should have never been taken away, probably. We needed the culinary arts. We needed all those programs to stay in line, and we did. So again, part of it is going back and saying, you know what, we need them. And that's how we're going to get kids here. We know that there's programs of interest that are listed in these certifications that kids from other schools want to come to. Okay, but what's restricting them right now is some of those programs they're going to get, they have to test to. We're not making it a test anymore. Like RCTC, it's a test to get into that school. It's not a test. This is a school of interest. If you want to come here, you come here. So that's a big difference in the two. There's no restriction to come in here, and the comprehensiveness is just a deeper career pathway if they want that, and with a comprehensive school, but more pathways for career in college and to get more kids in this building.
So why
yeah.
not just add the extra pathways and just get a new building?
Well, her question is,
are they
yeah.
willing not to pay for that because of the name?
No, okay, no. I think the name is, we've heard about the name. Her question was, why not just keep it then? Because, first of all, we won't have room when this building has to get, not this building, sorry, the main school. When we rebuild the building, we have to tear that down, okay? So there won't be the space for Marion Barnes. Yeah, and so when that new facility, it'll have all the program spaces for these programs. That's what I'm saying.
So why not move everybody to an empty building?
Okay. So her question, this is a fair question because I think it's what got asked, and I wanted to make sure that even the board hears that, because even some board members have asked this question. So why not just move the entire school population to an empty building and then bring them back? Fair question, and that's what we have to explore based on the feedback that we've gotten, okay? So that's a question we've been asked, and we're going to address. And we're going to talk about if we can do that and if the school board has that direction too. But I want to make sure that's on the table. So it's on the table for that. So thanks for that.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
Thank
Nice meeting you.
I'm going to make sure that Tracy gets the opportunity to address a couple of things, but I want to make sure that this is one of the things that was brought up is in reference to the naming. The process, what has happened in the past, hear me out, typically the alumni, community members, school staff, district staff, local historians, if they're available, they come together to form what the naming committee is. That is what has happened. Same thing happened with Langford Tut. That's what goes on or went on in the past with those things. In reference to, and Tracy you got your microphone still? Yeah, you may address this. So I thank you, Colonel, for your service. I appreciate that. You made mention of the slide, and I just want to make sure I say you said that it said we only had one ROTC. That's one ROTC staff member. It said that we were only allocated to have one. So
Hold on.
Wait.
Let me just answer the question, because I hear what you're saying. The state passes down laws that are unfunded mandates every day.
That's not the state, that's the federal.
The federal hands down federal mandates that don't. Let me answer your question. You're not letting me answer the question.
You're not answering it correctly.
Yes, I am.
No, you're not.
Then we can have.
No. Can I have the microphone?
No, We- We have cards, so we will call up. Okay, we'll call it up based on the cards. Yes, sir. Y'all tell. I'm trying to read. Here we go. I'm gonna let this. Hold on a second. We're gonna let that continue that sidebar over there. Mr. Glennis Gaines, Dr. Glennis Gaines. All right. There was another question that came up. They asked about making sure that. Oh, here we go. We got some more cards. Hold on one second. Give me a couple more. Okay. So listen, because I know that there are several questions that are still going. Come on, TC, Mr. TC. As we are trying to, if you put a card in, stay right there. You good? I'm about to hand you the mic. If you put a card in, if you move down this way, that way we won't have to worry about trying to get over. That'll help us. That way we can move along, because I see some people who saying they need to move. But so let's make sure we get a chance for people to say what they want to say. If you have a question, make a comment. We're going to line up. Yeah, just line up right here down the middle. That'll be helpful. Yeah, we'll use these two rows right here. And we'll have some questions done, and we'll keep it. Come on, Ms. TK. And then we can, because I see some people are starting to move out. And I want them to have opportunity, people to hear some questions as things go on. But let's try to make sure, one, we like it stated, keep our comments focused toward the students and for the students, and also make sure we remain without a disruptive behavior that will help us get through this process. We want to make sure everybody have a chance to communicate. Oh, I understand. Go ahead, Ms. Tickett.
Good evening. Good evening, Eagle Nation. I'm not here to direct any questions to Mr. Richard or to Mr. Myers. What I'm about to say is to our superintendent and our board members. Those of you that are here tonight agree that the naming committee should be removed and that the board shall name that school T.W. Josey. Please stand. I want the superintendent to see it. I want the board members to see it. It is to remain T.W. Josey. I'm not a cussing man, I'm a preacher. But I grew up at 1593 McCauley Street, Sunset Homes. So I still know how to cuss. I have no desire to cuss, but if I'm told one more time that this school board cannot remove this committee, I might just cuss. Because if you created the policy, you can delete the policy. The name should never be in any doubt. The second thing, we were told that Murphey can hold 650 students. Josey don't even have 600. Those kids can remain together, move into the Murphey building. You can add portables if you have to, keep them together. You already told us that the gym is going to be here, the football field is going to be here. They're not tearing those things down. So you can still house them and keep them together. And if you can't do that, we have so many brand new schools that are empty right here in the city of Augusta that we can find a building to put them in. All I'm saying is tonight we've got to stand, not only tonight, but moving forward. And I hope the superintendent, who will make the recommendation, the board that will vote on it. And this stuff about they've always used naming committees, that's not true, folks. We're not that stupid. We're not dumb. And if we want to talk about transparency, I walked in tonight. I met a young lady when I walked through the door, and I introduced myself. She introduced herself, and she told me she's the Director of Communications for the Board of Education. I've worked 39 years, and I still work at the Savannah Riverside. I've been in management a long time. I understand budgets. If you're the communication director, and we're talking about spending money, and I'm not pointing my finger at anybody, but why is that communication director is not up here leading this and not Mr. Myers? I mean, I want to know from our board, what is Mr. Myers' title, and what are we paying him if we've got a communication director? If we're talking about spending money, I mean, we need to have real transparency, folks. Those are our tax dollars. And the consulting group, I have nothing against them. I'd like to know how much money has been spent to this day with the consulting group. We need to know those numbers, and they should give them to us. It should be public information. Since we're talking about spending dollars. So I leave you with that question. Mr. Meyer, what's his title? What are we paying him? How much has been spent to HPM? And that the naming committee will be removed, and that this school board will name the new school T.W. Josey.
No, is it? Come on.
Hey everybody, basically mine is a comment. If you wasn't at the breakfast this morning, they was informing us. So my thing was to the people that was there. They were saying that they was closing down Josey because, you know, they didn't have anything. But if they close Jenkins White, which feeds into Murphey, which feeds into Josey, that's why we ain't gonna have nobody there. So my main concern, we already had this, so they probably ain't gonna come up here behind me. But I just wanna say that to see y'all tonight is really good, but we gotta stand together as a school. I told Tracy, a lot of y'all I ain't see 2-3 years ago when we was going to them meetings out there in Helpsburg when they was having these meetings. So this has been talked about for a while. And to be honest with you, it's still being talked about, but I think it's already in place. Tonight, I'm not saying y'all wasting our time, you know, and I respect the board and the board members, but I'm not saying that they wasting our time, but they keep telling us the same thing. We can follow the numbers, we can follow what they're saying, but we ain't gonna see a difference. The main thing most of us in here for tonight is we want to make sure that we keep our name fine. And I'm a proud Josey alumni of 91.
Good evening. My name is Sheffy Robinson, class of 1999, member of the ROTC when I was in school as well as the Sonic Boom of the South marching band. And I am currently the president of the Alumni Foundation. Augusta owes Thomas Walter Josey Comprehensive High School. The city of Augusta owes 1701 15th Street because it was the permits that caused the tear down and rebuild of spaces that did not bring families back to this area. The Board of Education owes 1701 15th Street, Thomas Walter Josey Comprehensive High School, because the consistent patterns of zones that have bused kids out of this area to other schools so that other schools maintain their numbers, but Josey doesn't. We are owed owed a new school. We are owed to remain Thomas Walter Josey Comprehensive High School because we were, in the 90s, a comprehensive high school. I was the president of Vocational Industrial Clubs of America. We had all the programs that you're talking about now, so you're not doing us any favors. You're giving us back what we were owed. And I need the board members to understand that we are owed. We have tarried on 1701 15th Street for 60 years of foolishness in the city of Augusta, and we are tired. We are tired. And I know people want to say, oh, well, there are lies being spread. Y'all aren't reading the data correctly. I have a whole degree in data, baby. I know what I'm talking about. So if you're going to come for me, you come with the data too. We are owed. My plea to the board, let it stay. Thomas Walter Josey Comprehensive High School. We can figure out the rest. Our current students need to graduate as Thomas Walter Josey Comprehensive High School students. Even if you don't let new students come in, that's fine, because the alumni will continue to support them. And no matter what board members have said about us, the alumni support our current kids.
Hold on one second.
I'm not a Josey alumni, but 8 years ago at T.W. Josey High School in Richmond County, the first STEM program was started. Now, you're talking about not performing. You're not doing anything to help them perform. You had a meeting similar to this one 2 years ago, and I talked to that gentleman there. He showed me some figures. Do you know how many, the percentage of students that are bused out of this area going to Glen Hills? I'm going to tell you, 27.5%. You know how many students in this area are going to Richmond? 18.5%. How many, what's that percentage totals up to be? 44% of the students that live in this area are bused out. Now, you're talking about this school, but you never considered Glen Hills. I asked that same question 2 years ago. I talked to that gentleman there for about an hour. He said, well, Glen Hills is going to be considered. You come back tonight, you said nothing about Glen Hills being considered. But you're busing students to Glen Hills out of this area. You're busing them to Richmond and to Glen Hills. And George P. Butler is getting 17%. Add those figures up and see how many students are being bused out of this area to other schools. That's why you don't have the students here. You're busing them out. That's all I've got to say.
Hold on one second. Hold on one second. Cause hold on one second. Hold on. Don't miss it.
Good evening. I just want to speak from experience as a retired board employee about how high schools can be saved. When I was assistant principal at Josey, I went out of town with Dr. Audrey Wood and 2 other people, and we researched the IB program because Richmond Academy's enrollment was going down, and the people that lived off Walton Way were sending their students to private schools. So the county said, let's save Richmond. Dr. Woods and I, we went and we toured several schools in Florida. We brought the program back. Now they kept the students at Richmond, and they built around Richmond, and the IB program is probably one of the best in the state. A second project that I was a part of, I was sent to Laney High School as principal. We started the IB program. Eagle saved Laney. The IB program is still running. That was about 15 years ago. If we allow them to close Josey, no, you're talking about history? We're not talking about a name. We're talking about Josey's history. If they close Josey, I'm just going to use the girls' basketball team right now for an example. That's not a basketball team, that's a program. Those kids not only excel on the basketball court, but in the classroom. So my point is, we can save Josey with our current students. They can move into Murphey. We can build around, just like they built around Richmond Academy and kept that school intact. Do not, I repeat, if you allow them to close Josey, we will not have a Josey. Do not, I repeat, if we allow the Board of Education to close Josey, we can forget it. And the reason why the other two schools were saved is because the people that were coming up with the plan were vested in the city, right? So we have outside consultants coming in, they're just making money. They're talking numbers, they're not talking people. When I was a principal, I used to always say to the teachers, they would say, well, 80% of my kids passed. I say, but what about the 20%, the 2 kids in your room that didn't? You're talking about lives here. True, we want this to be named Josey, but we want Josey's history to remain. If it closes, it starts over as a new Josey. And do we really want that? I'm done.
Good evening. My name is Donna Hurd. I'm a proud member, a graduate from Thomas Walter Josey Comprehensive High School, class of 95. Also a member, shout out to all ROTC, a proud member of that as well. Now my question is, when we first came over here and y'all went to bring Murphey over, and we had all alumni fight, argue, say, hey, we didn't want a name change then. We did all this meeting, went to the Board of Education. Before the camera people can actually set up for this to talk about a name change, you had a member to come straight out the back, say, it ain't no name change, walk out with an attitude. Nobody had a word to say. We couldn't get anything else off. Now you're saying, hey, we're gonna close down Hornsby, and you're gonna move the school, the elementary school to Lamar. That's starting up, as you say, 27 this year ending. How are you gonna actually do that when you have TGR starting up? I don't believe y'all got enough money to outbid Tiger when he already done purchased that school. And it's opening in 28. Now that's research also. You wanna talk numbers about it. As they all stated and everybody has said, you're busing everybody out. You open up programs for Richmond, which is overcrowded. You bust out and you put everybody at Laney to save the school. They're overcrowding, but everybody wants to go there. Now you got Butler that you're overcrowding, which they had problems. You had Murphey, you just got down Seagull, all those schools that had problems. You busting out everywhere but here. You have all these programs that you said make it seem like you didn't have teachers here that were qualified to teach any of your AP programs when we had all of that back in the 90s anyway. So again, yes, everything that you are mentioning, comprehensive. We had cosmetology. My beautician is a proud member of and graduated from Thomas Walter Josey with the experience from being a cosmetologist. From here, daycare and everything else. You have football members that's in here that's educators. We have members that want to become educators that have to go somewhere else. Now, because you don't offer programs like the special ed program that stayed here for the longest, that you are capable to haul wheelchairs. Laney can't house wheelchairs like that because they had stairs. The only other school that had for handicapped wheelchair accessible or the blind is Butler, and it's overcrowded with problems. So why can't you follow and have teachers here to do that? Bring your students here. Now you said a lot of ifs. if we keep it, and if they want to come back, they have the opportunity. What kid you know want to come back after I done played football somewhere else, where your teams are bigger and your schools are outshining now because we have it all spotlighted for them, and not here at Thomas Walter? I'm not going to come back to that school of a if. Now, if you want to make something clear out for everybody, just tell the truth. It's gentrification. It's gentrification. Everything that's coming around, you have MCG sweeping all this way, and you have Augusta National sweeping the other way. So tell me how you're going to plan if we're not going to keep it as Thomas Walter Josey. How are you going to plan to even have kids to come to a new school? Because you don't have nothing but an if behind it with no students in the area.
All right, thank you. So in reference to that, I want to make sure I explain. You know, what we have to look for is what is to come. They have laid out a plan. Please, thank you. Please understand. Again, it's a plan. It's proposed. This is a plan. It is proposed. Nothing has been voted on. The vote is February the 10th. It's a plan. It's proposed. That is what I want to make sure I continue to say. Now, I know we still got cards, still have questions, comments, but I want to make sure I say this. There's going to be staff here for individual questions, for things after this is over. We'll be around. We'll be able to stay, talk, answer questions, individual questions, things that people want to know, things that people are asking. We're going to be here for that, so please make sure you stick around to ask us those questions. I had a from the what? Hold on one second. Let me get the microphone.
It wasn't supposed to be here. They put it. This was a prison. And they moved us in here and built all the money they supposed to build Joseph with and put it at Butler. And they're doing it again. This needs to stop. Board members, this needs to stop. He right here, this school deserved to be here. Deserve it.
Absolutely.
I fought to come back in here. I grew up in here.
I tried to.
This school deserved to be here. It deserved. We have fought and died for this. We have lawyers, doctors, all kinds of come out of this school right here. We deserve it. Don't take it away. We fighting. We ain't here to fight. Get your gloves.
All right.
Why don't you make the ones that stand up on the board that supports this? Make them stand up.
What?
Make them stand up.
What? This is.
The board members that support this, make them stand up.
What?
So they can show themselves. Don't hide yourself.
No.
No. I want to see. I know we got more Josey, but I want to see if there's any Jenkins White or Murphey.
Okay. Yeah, and I know we have a few more. I know we have a few more people that want to speak in reference to Josey, but I want to make sure that I do open the floor. If people have questions in reference to Jenkins White, Murphey. But this meeting is for everyone. This meeting is for everyone. Right. So. Yes, ma'am. That's.
Hold on. We're not going to. Hold on. Real quick.
Come over here.
No, we're not going to take away their time. We just want to be sure. We just want to be sure because ma'am, hold on, just 1 second. We're going to give them their time, I promise. Yes. We're not taking away time. Okay, hold on. This meeting stated was for Jenkins, White, Murphey, and Josey. I get that. And so I know. I just wanted to be sure I just want to be sure, please. If Jenkins White, if we do have some Jenkins White here, folks that have questions, I want to make sure they get heard, not to take away time from the Josey comments, okay? Okay. Ask them what? Okay,
That's-
if you
that's
are
what we-
Jenkins White, thank you. I misunderstood. My bad. So if you are Jenkins White, come forward too. I want to make sure you get heard too. So thanks for that. Sorry about that.
Yeah. Say everything.
Here, I'll give you two.
You want to talk to you? You gonna
Yeah. Sing. Good evening, everyone. My name is Morgan Frazier, and I'm a sophomore at Josey. When I first walked into Josey, I didn't expect much. Honestly, I didn't even want to be here. That first day was draining. I had just left people from my past, and I knew I was eventually going to see them again, but I wasn't ready to go through all those emotions again. Starting over is exhausting, especially when you're carrying your old memories with you. I walked into Josey guarded, tired, and unsure what this place would mean to me. But sometimes, the places you didn't expect most from end up changing us the most. Not long after I arrived, I met a girl named Faith. What started as a simple friendship, it grew so much deeper than that. She's like my sister now, and together right here at Josey, we created something bigger than we ever imagined. Our small business, Munchie Cravings, this school didn't just allow that dream to exist, but it supported it. Josey showed us love, encouragement, and belief, and that support changed our lives. If you've been here long enough, chances are you've tasted a cookie, tasted a brownie, or a cup of lemonade. Almost everyone in this building has been touched by Munchie Cravings in some way. And that didn't happen just by accident. That happened because Josey is a place where people show up for each other. A place where ideas aren't laughed at, they're lifted. This school is more than just a building, it's our home. Josey has its own identity. We have the best band, amazing cheerleaders, elite dancers, flag girls who put their heart into everything that they do. Other schools may have their own traditions, their own names, and their own reputations, but it's different over here. It's always been different. At Josey, we stick together. We stick together because we know what it feels like to be misunderstood. We know people judge us without knowing us, so instead of letting that divide us, we chose unity. We chose family, we chose pride in a place that many people overlook but has given us so much. Now we're standing on the edge of losing it. Josey hasn't officially closed, but the proposal alone feels heavy. And if something happens to this school, I hope everyone listening takes this as a lesson, not just for Josey, but about life. Places like Josey teach us more than academics. They teach us resilience, creativity, loyalty, and love. And that's something worth fighting for. Thank you.
Hi, good evening, everybody. My name is Faith Terrell, and I am a sophomore here at TW Josey. I don't have a lot to say. I don't have a speech prepared. I just wanted the Board of Education and everybody here listening to take heed to this because Josey has truly changed our lives. The teachers here, Miss Patterson is right there, Miss Anindu, Miss Stan, Miss Taylor, everybody right there, Bree, all of them right there have truly, Miss Williams, I didn't see you, both of them, Mr. Asbury, all of them, Dr. Priestley is in the back, they have Miss Stokes is in the back. They have truly changed us. Even with everything that they do, even if I come in here, I'm out of dress code, Mr. Asbury say, Faith, you're out of dress code, I might get an attitude with him, and I admit that. But Mr. Asbury has always been there for us. He doesn't, Mr. Asbury's not, you might go to Laney and the student might get an attitude with them, the admin finna start yelling at them. Mr. Asbury has never been the type of principal to yell at us. Assistant principal, well, it doesn't matter. He has never been the type of person to get an attitude with us or anything. Josey has truly, truly, truly been a big part of our lives. If we get a bakery when we get older, then we when we get a bakery and get older, we will sit here in about our bakery and we will say, this started at T.W. Josey. Mr. Tober is not here right now, but he was our social studies teacher in 9th grade, and he told us that nothing is impossible. He told us to fight. He told us that if we want to do it, to do it. He said we had the resources. We just need to make the plan. We made the plan, and we made it happen, and it happened. We do what we need to do, and we made it happen. And I just want to say that Josey is just so much to us. Miss Lucky in the back, she introduced me to DECA, and at first, I was scared to do DECA. And Miss Anindu, she did too. Miss Moore isn't here, but she did DECA this year. They was like, DECA is a great opportunity for you. So now when I graduate, DECA is gonna be in my resume, and the college is gonna look at it and say, oh, she was in DECA. Miss Patterson told me, Faith, you like to argue all the time. You better join debate. I joined debate, and I do great. I argue. I love to argue. I'm going to admit, I do. So I joined debate. Miss Stokes, she gets on me about every little thing. But I know when I get to college, she's going to be like, I'm going to sit there and be like, Miss Stokes told me not to do this, and I'm not going to do it. And she told me to do it the right way. And I can't go to the school that I'm zoned for is going to be Laney. I don't want to go to Laney and have to make new bonds with new teachers. I love my teachers here right now, right to this day. What's today? Thursday. I went to school today, and I seen every one of these teachers that's here today. I don't take Miss Huff, but every day in the morning, Miss Huff says, good morning, Faith. Ever since she's learned my name, she says, good morning, Faith. And that's just like Eagle pride. Eagle, I love being an Eagle. Some people you can't take that away from us. Being an Eagle is important to us. I'm gonna go. Thank you.
All right, once again, like I said, we will have members of the staff and the executive staff here to answer questions, to make sure we get opportunity to address anything, any question you have. Different departments are here, from transportation to finance, student services, talk about federal programs, all these things are here. I want to make sure I say that and say that again. As we wrap it up, come on. We're gonna wrap. That way we have a chance to speak individually, just like earlier today. And like I said, we'll stick around to make sure we can take care of that, okay? Hold on.
Yeah. My name is Irvin White. In school, they call me Duck White. Most of them didn't know my name, real name, my first name. I'm here on the topic of enrollment. When Josey first opened in '64, we had sometime like two, three of the same class, full of kids, full, all around. Now, if you look around here now, the neighborhood has been moved. When you move the neighborhood, you move the kids. And when you move the neighborhood, it's a reason to close the school. Now, my opinion, this just didn't start 10, 20 years ago. It started way back because slowly by slowly, Delta Manor, High Park, South Side, Gilbert, not Gilbert Manor, but you got Oregon Park, that's all the stuff started to close. And look around at the houses. People used to live all around here. So we had the kids. Now, when some of them had to move, they wasn't allowed to come to Josey, even though they stayed close. They were shipped to Butler or Richmond. Our kids was moved, wasn't allowed to come here. That's why the numbers are down. It's not down because they did not want to come. Now, these gentlemen, I don't know all, I'm not know nothing what they have. I don't know all the stuff they have. But our neighborhood has been moved. And to my opinion, the way it's going, some of you that live around here, at some point in some time, your house might be taken away. The reason I say that, I'm gonna say this, then I'm gonna sit down. I used to go to Sharon, I still do, I go to Sharon Baptist Church. Behind there one day, because we didn't have no inside bathroom, they cut a path through that. And I asked my father, I said, what's that? He said, they're gonna build a highway through here. Now, I was a kid. I was in grammar school when that happened. So right now, there's things now we don't know about that's gonna close. It might be where you live, park, or stuff, but there is stuff in the plans right now. So by Josey closing, I don't want it to close because this is the first. I was bused to 4 different schools as a kid. 4. I had to get up in the morning. I had chores to do before I went and caught the bus. I had about an hour or more bus ride. It didn't matter whether it was snowing, sleet, rain, it didn't matter. We kids, some walked. They walked to school in the rain, in the cold. The bus I rode didn't even have a heater. Did not have a heater. It can be snow. The bus didn't have no heater. So Josey, I wanted to stay. I don't know about some of the other, I guess all the ones, I know all the ones here is for Josey to close. But sorry to say, it might be already planned and there's nothing we can do about it. Have you thought of that? This is just, hate to say it, but this is just a little show. Thank you.
Thank you. As everyone that has given a card, everyone who has given a card, I want to make sure you have an opportunity to speak. You spoke? Come on. Yeah, everyone that gave a card, I want to make sure you have an opportunity to speak. And yeah, we're going to come on up. Can I finish saying what I need to say? Hold on one second. Everybody that gives, I want to make sure everybody gets a card. I'm making that announcement, please. Everyone that's given a card, I want to make sure you have an opportunity to speak. So please come around so we can make sure you get on up. But I just have to make sure we're making sure we're doing our due diligence for that part. So anybody that hasn't given a card, make sure you have an opportunity to speak.
You just sit right there. Yeah.
But we just want, we'll.
Hey, how y'all doing? I'm Shirley Robinson, class of 98. I was in The Boom with a few of y'all when it was booming. And to be honest, I ain't gonna hold y'all. I'm one of them alumni that Viv was talking about. Because a board member told me in 2006 that I should seek education for my children outside of Richmond County if I didn't like the curriculum and how it was going. When they sold our children's education out to Voyager and introduced sight words and took phonetics out, because I don't understand how you do that. How you teach somebody to read without phonics? A, B, C, D, E, F, G, didn't we all learn to read with phonics? Okay, so at the behest of a board member, I did what she said do, what I thought was my only option, because I wasn't gonna allow Richmond County to retard my children, right? So I went to Atlanta with them. But old Sophia home passed the peas. I'm back now as of 2023, right? And I don't like what I'm seeing, because now they done slid their property tax bill on over to Shirley, and it ain't adding up. What I'm looking at, what I'm researching, what I'm finding out about our school board opting out, guys. FYI, if y'all didn't know this, Georgia passed a statewide, we voted statewide on this, to put a cap on the property taxes with the school operation maintenance, and our school board, Richmond County's finest, opted out. And when I asked the CFO today at the luncheon why did they opt out, he told me it was so they could keep getting state money. And when I asked about that $43 million, come to find out, y'all, it's a loan at 3.5% interest, right? And so we're also having to pay that instead of them waiting, because patience is a virtue, to build. They took out a loan and got this $43 million at 3.5% interest, right? And so now we are shouldering the burden as taxpayers on the interest on their loan. And the default, because what's gonna happen is they're gonna end up pricing everybody out with their property taxes, and the city gonna own a bunch of property, and now they ain't collecting no taxes, right? Right, you see what I'm saying? And so now I begin to wonder, the $385 million budget that they told me they had fiscally, how that was split up, how that was allocated. And I know that we use things like enrollment and test scores to determine how much each school is allocated. But again, I feel like you created this problem, this enrollment issue, by closing down the housing projects that fed the students to the school for enrollment. And then you remove the vocation like I said, I am a proud Miss Campbell cosmetology student. And I went on to Kenneth Schuler in North Augusta, and I've had a cosmetology license since 2003 in 2 states, Georgia and South Carolina, because she lived right here. So yeah, that served me in high school. I also went off to a 4-year school because I played trumpet. Band scholarships was scholarshiping back then. They don't give the kids nothing now. But again, there is a vote happening on November the 3rd, y'all. Please don't think we got to just lay down and take this. Whatever they decide, because again, they're gonna vote on February the 10th and decide. No matter what we say here, what we need to remind them of is that all of those votes are public record. We gonna know how you voted, and that's gonna dictate how we vote when it's time for their seats to be reelected, right? The people that, this isn't a personal attack. Oh, no, no, no. This isn't a threat, it's a promise. It's a promise from the taxpaying constituents that when we go into the voting booth, we're going to remember how our interest was not served financially.
Gotcha.
How there was no financial transparency.
All right, so we have people here to be able to help us with. Absolutely. We have people here that are able to help and explain the finance again that they did this morning. So they'll be able to explain that to you again very shortly, right after we finish wrapping this up right now. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, I'm Billy Brazel, and I got a question, and my question is this. My question is this. Board of Education, you're going to close Josey, send the students to other schools. Who are you preparing this school for? Can one of y'all answer that, please?
Absolutely. Mr. Rick? He said if the school is closing, who is the school being prepared for?
Yeah, okay, so again, the idea is that to reinvest right here to make sure that, first of all, the neighborhood gets served by a local school, always. You got a school in your neighborhood, it serves the school, it serves your students right here, no doubt. What we wanted to do was open the opportunity for people to see what Josey really is and bring that enrollment back. And so what we're trying to do is attract that back. I've heard all night about, we've tried to take kids out, We open up the boundaries so all kids can come here. Right. And that's the goal. We want to make sure the opportunity at Josey's for all students in the district. We know there's parts of the district that won't come this far to get here. But we're trying to open the boundary and make sure the neighborhood is served because it's a neighborhood high school. And we want to make sure the district students have an opportunity to come here to see the opportunities here, but get the deep programs they need. So that's the intent, okay? So, and I understand your question on that, so I appreciate that.
And I love that idea.
Yeah.
So let's just make sure if this, what you're planning,
yep.
Let's do this, but let's make it still be Josey, and the students that you send away from Josey can come back to Josey.
Okay, that's fair. Yep.
All of them.
Yep.
Okay. All of them will be able to and more. Go ahead.
Thank you. Hi, good evening, everyone. Hi. So my name is Labria Jacobs, and I am a class of 26 here at TW Josey. And I just wanted to say a couple of words. I'm not here for no debate, guys. So That's not me. But I just wanted to share my story because I feel like I am one of those that came out of Josey and was able to prosper. And they feel like a lot of us can't do that. But there's a lot of students at Josey who are able to walk outside of the doors of Josey and do a lot more in the community, go off to schools. They're able to be someone outside of this community. So why take this school away if they are preparing students to do something, to go somewhere, to be something? So like I said, my name is my name is Labria Jacobs, and I am a class of 26. And through my 6th through 9th grade year, I was at A.R. Johnson. I was at a magnet school. I went to go to school for mechanical engineering. I left that magnet school to come to this school of my choice, T.W. Josey, here on 15th Street. I decided to leave that magnet school to come to T.W. Josey because I felt like this was the environment that I needed. These were the people that were going to come together to support me. This was not a school where anybody can just, this is somewhere where I know that the people that are behind me are going to stay behind me for the rest of my life. These mentors that I have met here at this school, they're going to be there for the rest of my life. Not only have I come here, I am the youngest and the first and the youngest Richmond County student to go to Savannah Nuclear Riverside and start my apprenticeship out there. I've been working at Savannah Riverside since I was 16 years old. 16. I am the youngest person to be on site. I am the first Richmond County student to go out there, and I have been killing it, absolutely. I love it out there. I've been working full-time, 40 hours a week while doing my school, and I am currently taking 4 college credits. I will enroll as a sophomore. Why can't the rest of our students at TW Josey do that? They can, but why won't we give them that opportunity to do that instead of trying to take it away from them? We're right here, right now. Why do we have to change any of that? If we're doing so great right now, why are they trying to take this away from us? This is my class of 26 year, and this sounds like it will be the last class. Why? Why? It won't be, because we're not going to let it be, because this name will stay right here. It won't be the end. That's it. That's it. This school has absolutely changed me. I am our current DECA president, and that opportunity, the teachers here today are the reason that I have been able to go on and do all the things that I have been able to do. It wasn't just because I am who I am. It was because I was in a community that was able to support me, a school that was able to congratulate me and lead me on. This just isn't a miracle. No. People worked with me here. They talked with me here. They taught me here so that I could go on and be something more. And I will go on to be something more, and I will come right back to this school and give right back to the school that made me who I am. That's it. Fly, Eagles, fly. Y'all have a nice night.
You know, I'll sit there, and no one said these 5 words. First, giving honor to the God. Not one person. Not even when they start talking. It's all about them. And I'm going to tell you who I am. Minister Larry Carter, a proud graduate of T.W. Josey High School, class of 1970. And he said he wanted to talk about Jenkins White. Well, I come out of Jenkins White also. 7 years at Jenkins White, which is Levi White Elementary School. And a lot of people in here know they came out of Levi White. Walked all 7 years. Came to Josey in the 8th grade, 1966. Walked all 12 years. Never was bused nowhere. The reason why they want to close the school because they done pushed everybody out. As people say, they pushed them out. They closed Sunset. They closed Give Up Manor. Where the children are going? They pushed them out to the south They pushed them out to the west. They bust them everywhere else except here. Yes, it's going to go down. Yes, they also, that was the technical school right there. They went to Josey and the technical school and prospered. I prospered. I got a mechanical degree from the technical school. Went in the military and come back. Josey is my home. They already done made their decision. They can sit here and talk all this they want. Throw the rock and hide your hand. But God gonna get the last word.
Say who you want to.
Hey y'all, my name is Jakaya. And I'm standing here today not just as a student, but as someone whose life was shaped inside the walls of TW Josey. When people talk about schools, they usually talk about test scores, graduation rates, or funding. But TW Josey is more than just a number on a page. This school gave me love when I needed the most, laughter when it felt heavy, and possibilities that I couldn't even see a future for myself. Inside this building, I found teachers who didn't just teach lessons, they saw me, they checked in, they pushed me, and I didn't even believe in myself. And I stayed patient when I was struggling. For some of us, this school was just stable. It was somewhere that we could go when we wanted to get away from all the love and the hate of our parents. It was somewhere that we could go when we just didn't feel like being outside or just didn't feel like doing stuff. These teachers shaped our life in so many different ways. And when I get to college and I become an OBGYN, I'm going to remember TW Josey, not just because of how the teachers treated me or how I came in and people was like, oh, you're at a dress code, you're at a dress code, because God knows. Miss Springs was on me bad for dress code. God knows that Miss Patterson was the one that actually got me up for debate. I honestly thought I couldn't debate because something about arguing just didn't seem right. But when you're arguing the right way, it seems like you know what you're talking about. You know what you're doing. So today I'm here to argue for Josey. Why are we being shut down? What's the point? Why can't we graduate from this school? I don't see you shutting down any other school. They don't have a lot of children either. Barely have teachers. So why are we getting shut down? We're doing better. If you don't see it, we're climbing up on the charts. We're doing way better than we have in the past 5 years. So what's going on now? When we're finally doing better, y'all want to shut us down? Y'all want to quiet us? For what? I just don't see the problem.
Good job.
I'm Elijah Johnson, class of 26. Oh, 27, yeah, class 27. Anyways, I ain't even got to say that much, right? But TW Josey, to most of us, it's not even just a school. It's a home. The memories that I've made since I've been here for 3 years. I've been here since 9th grade. And the people I met here, Miss Patterson, Mr. A, all the teachers, Miss Lucky, Dr. Priestley, all my friends behind me, I'll never make those memories again at another school. And you can ask everybody. I'm not the person that's been on top of my work since I started here. But you can ask Dr. A. He even told me one day, Elijah, you getting better. I was on probation. I did all this bad stuff. But teachers like Miss Patterson spoke to me. They told me I need to start doing better. Miss A spoke to me, told me that I need to start doing better. My friends talked to me, told me I need to start doing better. And that's what I did. I started doing better. I joined JRTC. My friend was trying to get me to join JRTC since I was in 9th grade. I'm just now joining it. But guess what? I'm doing good in it too. How they go complain for it? How they gonna play about our growth but won't let us continue to grow? This is our home, and no matter the consequences, no matter what we go through, we will protect our nest. This is our home.
My name is Ethan, and I just wanted to say that Josey has welcomed me from
Day one, I've met so many people. They've changed my lives drastically, especially ROTC. I don't know where I would be in life without it. And Ms. Patterson, I want to thank you for everything you've done for me, all the times you talked to me, helped me out, and everything. Dr. A, you too. I just want to say thank you for everything you've done for the school. You too, Mr. Winstead, Dr. Priestley. I just want to say thank you for everybody, and y'all have all helped me be a better person.
My name is Caden Wills. I'm class of 27. I just want to speak on the side of Murphey because they're planning on closing that down too, which it really hurts me because I came from a little struggle, and I came down here for elementary, but middle school and high school really taught me a lot. From my 6th grade year, I went to Murphy. I didn't know what to expect. I don't mean to make it a race thing, but as a white kid and a majority black, it seems a little odd. You don't know what to expect, You don't know if you're going to be accepted, denied. So I was a little iffy. I told my mom, I don't know, I don't want to go. I wanted to do homeschool. But then my 6th grade year, I got into art. I met Ms. Hill. She taught me a lot. She she encouraged me to keep going. She noticed that I failed. She's like, don't let go. Keep pushing. Keep striving for excellence. You got it. And then a lot of class of 27 is going to know Ms. Nobles. Ms. Nobles is a handful. She's the equivalent to what some would say Ms. Stokes, but Ms. Stokes is a great teacher. But Ms. Nobles, she put it hard on you because she always wanted you to do better. She flexed her degrees to make sure you can achieve those goals too. She always told you, hey, you're not doing the greatest, but keep going because you're going to get there. If you always did bad, she will correct you to make sure you're striving on point. And then 7th grade year, I met Winstead and Dr. Priestley. They really taught me a lot because they noticed I was one of the only few white kids, so they took me aside. It was like, hey, how are you doing? Or you feel accepted? You feel, how you feeling? I was like, 6th grade year was nice. I met a lot of nice people. Met DeAndre, Elijah back then. Zakiah, I just met her like 8th grade, but Dr. Priestley and Mr. Winstead, they took me aside. It was like, hey, I like to see you grow. You're one of the only few white kids here, and they was like, hey, it was like you got it. He was like, they just like never give up. I wanted to see you do good. I was like, okay, thank you. It was really hard because as it would look to a lot of other schools, it would look odd. Like, hey, why did I thought middle school and high school was gonna be about bullies. I was like, oh no, I'm not ready. I got to 9th grade. I went from Miss Hill to now to Miss Stan. Miss Stan's really taught me a lot. Especially not art itself. Art's really, it's more of a life aspect. You fail, you can paint a better picture. I want to paint a better picture for Josey. Not as only as an eagle, but I would consider myself a brother. I would consider myself a brother now. But, it really hurts because my favorite color is purple, but ever since my 9th grade year and now my 11th, I bleed green and gold. Green and gold. Like it really hurts because the board they speak on numbers, and we could say our numbers aren't the greatest, but so isn't Glen Hill's. Our girls basketball team is, some would say, top notch in Georgia. We have one of the greatest Georgia high school prospects in girls basketball, Carrie Fluellen. We have another one named Montana Jenkins, all coming from the TW Josey High School. No other school is producing any of this, and it really hurts because a lot of these teachers really teach you a lot. They push you to keep going forward. They never want you to fail. Mr. A, he gives a lot of students a hard time, but that's because he wants to strive for excellence. He wants you to do better. Miss Anindu, she's one of the nicest teachers I've ever met. I've only had her for a year, but every time I see her, she still greets me good morning like I'm in her classroom today. Everybody speak on Miss Patterson. She's one of the greatest teachers too. If you ever have a problem, you go to Miss Patterson, she'll help you through it. She has a solution for every problem, it seems like. It don't make no sense. Dr. Priestley, he really stands by you for all your words. You ever have a problem, he encourages you to come to him. They strive to make Josey a better place, and it really hurts knowing they're trying to tear us down when, like we said, we're getting better. We was doing worse, but now that we're getting better, they feel like now's the time to shut us down. If they really wanted to shut us down, they should have done it when we was at our lowest. But now that we're at our highest, they don't want us to see us grow.
like Laney would say, they're trying to kill the bird. We want to keep the bird alive. We want to protect the nest. Hey, my name is DeAndre. You know, class 2027. I've been here since, I went to Murphey and Josey. I started at Murphy 6th grade. I did Murphy 6th, 7th, and 8th. But you know, I didn't start liking school until I got in 9th grade. 9th grade is where I met, it's 9th grade is where I met my friend EJ, also my friend Jamarius. But in the time of me being here, I found out I might actually like school just a little bit, but you know, not that much, cause you know, like school, you know, it's still school and all. Ain't not much to like about it. But you know, my brother graduated from Josey, my cousin graduated from Josey, and my sister graduated from Josey, and right now, currently, all my little sisters are currently going to Murphy. So you know, right, I prefer for all of us to keep on going to Josey and graduating. Even now to my little brother, you know, he's like 6, maybe like 7. I don't know how old he is. Anyway, I would say thank you for Mr. A, Mr. Winstead, Mr. Priestley. I thank y'all for doing your jobs. Even this person back here, I don't like him a little bit. But you know, thank you. Have a good day.
Protect the nest! Protect it!
Good evening. My name is Tashara Tompkins, and I graduated in 2013. I graduated top 5 of my class. I was in FBLA, Jobs for Georgia Graduates, and I also graduated out of the Jesse Norman School of the Performing Arts program. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that. With that being said, what I came to say is I understand very well what you guys are saying, and you guys are saying a bunch of nothing. You're not answering things properly. You got all these proposals, but you can't tell people what the proposals are. When I was in high school, we had cosmetology, we had childcare, we had auto mechanics, we had economics, we had cooking. We was also a part of the first group of class that did the merger with Augusta Tech College. We had econ class. It was about 20 of us in there. We had a teacher, his name was Mr. Edwards, and he came to the campus. He taught us, once a week? So you guys are hearing a lot of emotion in us because you guys are not really saying nothing. If you close this community, you're not only affecting the alumni, but you're also affecting the current students because you don't know how much them coming to this school helps them. You don't know how the community giving back, the students really rely on those things. You know, we are a younger class, so we haven't always done things, but since we decided to come back together and celebrate homecoming, we also have decided to give back to our school. It's more than just us gathering once a year to have a party. We're gonna do that anyway because we work hard for it. You guys are literally taking away everything from these kids and you're not telling them why. You got kids here, you're taking the school away, where are you gonna get the kids from? Y'all can't answer that question. Like you said, half of the school is being zoned out. Why stop something, bring it back? You guys are wasting money that you claim you don't have. Schools are overpopulated, understaffed, all this money. Y'all finna take out a loan to build a new school. Why not put that money back into the school if you paid your teachers more? Maybe more don't want to come to the school. And this is no disrespect to you, sir, but y'all have these people that don't look like us, don't talk like us, don't come down here with us and telling us that y'all taking away stuff. Y'all not really offering no real answers, no real solutions. So yes, the people are frustrated because no one is understanding. Y'all have y'all nice suits on, and that's cool. I respect all that. Y'all worked hard. Y'all should be able to represent yourself in that manner. I get that. But also, y'all are not saying nothing. Y'all using y'all big fancy words, your screens, your projectors with all these numbers that we know are not real. We may not know everything, and yes, there is change that needs to be made in us as a community. Yes, we can do better. We can do our part, and we will. But how can we if y'all take it away?
So make sure after this, y'all stick, because I want to understand what question you have. Oh, that y'all came up with.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
So I'm just curious, and I'm asking you guys because I want to know. Because I've been raised right here in Glendale I was raised right here in Glendale off Olive Road. I went to Murphey, so I went to Wisconsin Garden, Murphey, then Josey. I want to know what is going to happen, because from babies, we was already, let me see how I can say it, and I'm trying to put my professional voice on because I'm a little like antsy, but from little kids, which I'm not opposed to the elementary schools being touched, and let me just say this, I'm for all of the high schools, only because from babies, like I said, we started as babies, and growing up in certain areas, we are trained to go to where we go to. So mixing the kids, that's what I want to know. What are you guys expecting to happen with mixing us, with Laney, with Richmond, with Westside, just combining the schools? Like, I'm curious about that because I don't think it's going to be a good outcome. Only because we, as high school, we're set in our ways, and I'm not saying kids can't change, but we are very territorial of our space. I wouldn't have made it at no other school, and that's just being because of where I'm from. We knew the band, we knew, oh, you went to another school, it's gonna transition into the neighborhoods. Oh, you represent, we just wasn't having that when I grew up. So I'm just curious on what's gonna happen when the kids are starting to bring all of that energy together. You're taking Josey kids and putting them at Laney, which, that's our rival school. It's kind of becoming disrespectful. And I love Laney, I love all the high schools. I'm just saying, I'm gonna represent my school, they're gonna represent their school. Right. So our focus isn't gonna be on the education at that point. You can't mix them, to me. I'm just curious on how that's gonna work.
Okay, I know that's been a concern of this community, and I want to be sure that, I'm going to answer this question. I'm going to ask your funding question also, because I want to be clear on the funding. I'm going to answer her question. I'm going to answer her question. That's what I'm going to do. Can I answer? Okay, so on that, because I agree. I mean, we've heard about kind of it's turf across. I have seen. I've been in the city for 3.5 years working in the city. I've driven the seats. I've done it, but I've seen it. I get it. And yet, okay, I'm going to have to answer your question. But the thing is that when you put the kids in elementary schools, I agree, they come in with a high school t-shirt. They do. But the learned behavior of that doesn't start in elementary schools. The elementary schools coming together, which make up high schools. Elementary schools make up high schools. And so that's a learned behavior. And that learned behavior doesn't happen in the classroom. Those teachers aren't teaching turf. They're teaching language arts. They're teaching math. They're teaching all that. That's a goal. And then bring the community together. So once again, trying to expand the opportunity that the neighborhood will still come to this school because it's a neighborhood high school. It's right here. And trying to extend that opportunity to other students out there across the city if they want to make an interest in.
You keep saying community. The community doesn't want this.
Well, okay. So let me answer, and I've heard that. Let me answer your funding question very quickly. I need to answer her question. I know you're trying to talk over me, and I can't talk to her. So the funding question. First of all, what was left out of half of the conversation with the loan, because the other part that was told was that the district takes those dollars and they invest them into state and federal investment funds, which they make interest on, which is higher than the 3.5% that the loan is for. And so they make money on that, and then they have to pay what's called, and I don't mean to speak high words, but they pay something called arbitrage, which is a penalty because they made money, but it equals out, so it's a zero net gain. So she's going to say no, and she's going to walk away. The fact of the matter is that's how the district invests money. And on top of that, when you borrow the money up front, you can get the projects done faster. You know what the inflation rate of the last 5 years was in construction? 5%. Escalation of cost. So if I borrow money at 3% because I can build it quicker and get ahead of 5% inflation, it saves money. That is taught by your math teachers, that is taught by your English teachers, that's taught by everybody. So that, and on top of that, the $38 million isn't operation dollars. School districts in the state of Georgia and across the country aren't allowed to mix up construction dollars and operations dollars, okay? And so you can't spend building dollars on teachers, and you can't spend teacher dollars on buildings. And it's the reason you do an East Plus program to raise money for facilities, because then it doesn't take away from the operations cost. And so there's a separation there that happens. And I understand the frustration with the money and making sure it gets spent right. I agree, and we hear that.
Well, it's not about
Yeah.
the money getting spent right. It's just if you want to put it in the community.
Yeah, and that's what we want to do. We want, again, we want to, and one of the things was we wanted to invest the $43 million right here at Josey. That was the intent. And that, you want the truth, and you want that. The truth is, we're going to spend $43 million on this campus.
That Josey kids are not going to.
Yeah, and they can, and they can in the area, okay? So, but, okay, yeah, you're all paid, no. So, anyway, what I just try to do is try to explain that funding part to you. But we hear the voice, and we appreciate that. If you hear non-answers, I apologize for that. I'm glad to answer any clarification on that. I will, I promise you. And I'll stay with you on that, okay?
They have time to grow, like.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a lot of elementary schools.
To
They
grow
have
up.
time- You can train babies.
Yeah.
But when you're starting from middle school to
Yeah.
high school,
Right.
it's just how it is.
Well, I
So
agree,
That's
yeah.
my
Yeah.
whole issue.
Yeah.
You know, I do want my school's name to stay the
Sure
same.
you do.
But I just don't feel like it's going to be a great outcome.
Okay.
And then we're going to regret it in the end.
Okay.
Because there's no way you're telling any Eagle that they're going to Laney.
Okay.
They think it's going to be okay.
Okay.
You know, I just
Okay.
don't see it happening.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
Why shut us
okay.
down in the mix of it? So like y'all
Mhm.
just redid Richmond.
That's what we heard, yeah.
Y'all only used half of Richmond
Okay.
at one time.
Yeah.
The other half was being rebuilt. The main school was being
Yeah.
rebuilt for years.
So we've heard, yeah.
Vocational buildings
Yeah.
before, right outside.
Yeah.
So why not do that in the process? of
Okay,
rebuilding?
exactly. And yeah, I know you're not. I've never heard that tonight. So we've heard that suggestion, and we're gonna go talk about. We've heard that one. We're gonna go back talk about just that. I agree. So well, in February, yeah, in February. You got a question? I got one more. I got another question here.
All right, so I'm not originally from Augusta. You know, I'm from New York, and I bring that up because I'm kind of seeing something that kind of happened in New York, Brooklyn, New York, and somebody kind of brought up the point, and it's this thing called gentrification, not revitalization. Now, I keep hearing it's for the community, or it's for the people that's here, but if you put a $43 million building here, that's gonna raise the property taxes. If that raises the property taxes, it's gonna bring in a different demographic or a different type of people. The community will no longer be the same. So I keep hearing this for the community, but I'm not seeing how that's gonna help the community when bringing in this new building. Like I said, I'm seeing gentrification. Y'all trying to push the people that's in the community out of the community with bringing something like that in. Now, my other thing is, we talk about, and somebody else here before I came up here, they kind of brought up the point of y'all, you know, already sending kids that's inside this zone out. Now, with that happening, these other schools are already overcrowded, already having issues, already having problems. So with you sending more students to these schools without giving because that was another question I have, is there any extra funding going to these schools? How are these schools going to be able to handle all of these new things that's happening? Like, y'all not building up these new schools, so if these schools are already overcrowded and already overpopulated, how is that helping the community or the kids? Because it's a list of things that happens as far as poor education now, overcrowded classes, you got more issues, teachers cannot teach, it's more issues that come with it. So I keep hearing, this is for the community, this is for the community. But with y'all sending the kids that's inside this community already out to schools that's already overpopulated, I don't see how that helps the community.
Let me answer that question really quick. First of all, let me be clear. There's not a high school that's overcrowded. And when I tell you that, like I talk about Laney. Laney has 650 kids. It has a capacity of 1,050. ARC has a capacity of 1,650. It has about 1,100 in it. So the schools aren't overcrowded, first of all. And I want to make sure that we know that. The second thing is when it comes to the property taxes, I have the same concern as you do with gentrification. I do. And it's happened in Atlanta, it's happened in all the big cities, and it's happening here. It is. Yeah. So what I worry about is, again, when the school gets built here, to make sure that the community thrives in a revitalization, not a gentrification. Okay. I would agree with that. Now, the other thing is that the building of this $38 million does not raise your property tax. That is paid through with eSPLOS dollars. That is voted on. It's a penny sales tax out there that we vote on, okay? And so it's not a property tax that pays for the school facilities. And so now, what it can do, I agree, it can raise the property value that would do that.
People that's here inside this
Right.
community, like they say, if
Yeah.
you build this, what's in their head now, their property taxes raises. So the people who property taxes that's gonna raise already be here, that's what causes them to start moving out because they can't afford to live here no more because you're now putting this big new building.
Okay, okay, let me understand, because I do really want to understand this, and I honestly do, is that the property tax would raise because the value of the house would raise,
Right.
right? And so it's a debate on property value versus the tax rate. Building the $43 million, I agree, putting 43 in this community likely makes the area more attractive for people to come to. And it will. And again, I'm not a real estate speculator, so I won't ever say that, okay? But to your point, I can see that.
Yeah, so I go to the land development conference here.
So
they got over 300 homes in the South Augusta area right now that's not on the tax roll. Their biggest thing is always that people move out of this community because the education here is not up to par with Columbia County, I guess, North Augusta. So with that happening, I'm seeing y'all say y'all gonna build this new school here on 15th Street. Now let's talk about it. We got the medical district right there.
Yep.
We got IT down here now.
Yep.
We got Fort Gordon that's expanding.
Yep.
We got the Masters that's right there on Washington Road. So it is money here in Augusta, Georgia.
I agree.
My thing is now, y'all only putting money in Augusta, Georgia because y'all trying to displace the people that's the real community people who done built Augusta up, and y'all trying to move them out.
So I'm wondering, I guess what I'm confused as is the answer not to invest?
It is it's not helping. Invest, like we said, the solution is instead of tearing down the school, how about you put some of the students inside another school? What we keep hearing is y'all trying to destroy the school.
No.
No, that is what y'all saying. And y'all saying that's not what y'all doing, but that's what we're receiving
I'm good.
from you.
I'm hearing you.
Because, like I said,
the
solution, I guess y'all supposed to have another meeting about it, but why not just put these students inside another school while you rebuild this school up?
That's what we're
hearing. Trying to work up the first, the first half.
Okay.
And that's our thing. That's what the community is not understanding.
Okay.
We keep hearing y'all trying to help the community, but with the solutions that y'all giving, it's not gonna help the community.
Well, and that's, again, what the plan was, that's why we came here, to hear suggestions just like that. And to discuss it with the board to say, is this the right solution to either keep them together or move forward?
Okay, so my question
the
now
school
is,
board
who's
has to.
discussing what with the board?
So all this community, they're here listening.
So who is the board?
Yeah, the board's right here. They were introduced to earlier.
And that's what I'm saying. They're not.
Yeah, no. They're here to listen. They're here to talk to you after, okay? And they're here to listen. That's why they're here.
Well, my question now is, who's gonna talk after?
Yeah.
Y'all gonna talk with the board?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah. The staff, all the curriculum, everybody that you've talked about tonight, finance, curriculum, all those people that you mentioned here need to advise the board on this for the board to make the decision.
Okay, so I do have
based on
question.
this community input.
All right, I do have another question.
There's one question. That's why we're gonna be here. So just we have a few more people. We're gonna be here, so you ask your question after. No, we ask your question after. Just let
Can
we
I-
have.
It's about the curriculum.
They're gonna. We're gonna.
I'll talk.
Good afternoon, everybody. Is the mic on? All right, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Shaheem Halls. I graduated in the class of 2016. I was a member of the Sonic Boom of the South. I worked in the RTC, and I also was a family career Summa Science Leader of America. So what I'm saying is, in this description that we're having today, from my point of view, it's like a lean on me thing. We basically like Joe Clark. They sent Darius Priestley down here to save the school. Now he's saving the school, and they don't like it. I'm just gonna cut it. I ain't got time to cut no corners with you. But big ups to Darius, because Darius is actually doing what he needs to do. And I salute you that, because I met him in 6th grade at Murphey Middle Charter School. So from Murphey Middle to T.W. Josey Comprehensive High School, things are going to change, but the thing that needs to change is we need to go back to how we had it in middle school when we was forced to go to the district. That if we was in that particular district or we was in that school zone, we had to go to that school zone. Y'all changed and y'all took it out, so y'all made it hard for this particular location to be populated. I mean, y'all outcast and made us seem like we such bad people, but at the end of the day, when you come here to this high school right here, you find a home, you find a family, you find love, you find peace, and you find encouragement. So a lot of leaders come right here out of T.W. Josey Comprehensive High School, and that's all I got to say. So before we go on and make things change and we make all these good choices that we want to make for JRU, because they down the street and they want it, make sure you make the best decision and be here for the people, the family, and the kids, because they need us right now today. That's why it's getting so bad in the community. So I'm here to talk to you guys today. I ain't here to look at nobody back there. I want to talk to y'all on this front row. When y'all shook my hand and gave me my graduation diploma, you said have a nice day, right? So now I'm here to display how we gonna make this thing better. Because we can't make it better by closing it down and sending them to Lane and Glen Hills. They ain't gonna do them but start fighting, and they're really gonna get into a shootout. So before we even go ahead and do all of that, let's protect the nest while we're here tonight. And that's all I got to say. And y'all have a nice one.
Hi, my name is Tangela Walker. Sorry, I'm alumni of Laney, but looking at a lot of my people I went to school with, growing up, I'm 39 years old. I was born in Sunset, got towed down. History gone. Grew up 646 Giver Manor, 621 Giver Manor, gone, towed down. History gone. I say that to say, I left in 04 to go into the military. I'm retired, I'm a veteran, I moved back. My kids came home to go to either Laney or Josey. All the way in Texas, baby, they know about Laney and Josey. And I say those two names together because they go hand in hand. You can't have Laney without having Josey. You take Josey away, you take away the rest of the history. Now, y'all talk about history, but why are y'all taking the history away? You can't sit here and take these kids away and think they're gonna come back. It's not gonna happen. And like everybody else say, you can sit here and say all day long that that's a trained behavior. My parents went to Laney. Yes, it's trained. You already know what school you're gonna go to. When I had my kids in Texas, they knew they was coming back home to Georgia to go to Laney or Josey. So right now, they're at Laney. I got one that want a Wildcat and one want to be a Eagle. But Eagle, they don't have the programs that he need. So he has to go to Josey. And you shake your head, but they had them. They had them. So the money that y'all are taking, put it back. Put it back. Give it to these teachers so that they can teach these kids the same things that we was taught. Now, I do understand that there is a time that there has to be change. But guess what? The change has to start within the school. Just like it starts at home, it starts in the school. It starts in the community. You took everything that they had to bring the students here. And yes, years ago, they might have had buses, but guess what? It was kids that walked to Laney, that walked to Josey, because they knew where the best of the best was. Now, most of these people that sit here that came from Augusta, Georgia, they came from Laney and Josey. The best principals that we have ever had came from Laney and Josey. The best teachers came from Laney and Josey. I have a video on my phone from 2000 when I first went into Laney. Guess what we had? We had a parade. You didn't have a parade for Josey without having Laney in it. You didn't have a parade with Laney without having Josey in it. You can't have Augusta, Georgia without Laney and Josey. You can't. Now, granted, I was in Iraq when they redid Laney. But I remember Lamar Millage, when they redid that school, they put us in portables. Don't tear the school down because you're tearing down history. Put portables out there and build on top of it. And expand that way. It's cheaper. We talking about money being here, but let's keep it here the right way. You can expand by putting portables out there, keeping those kids here. You keep those kids here, you keep the money here. That way, people like myself that's looking to buy, I buy here instead of staying in Columbia County and driving my kids here. Because guess what? They're going to go to Laney or they're going to go to Josey. That is a thing in our family. You have to have a diploma from Laney or Josey. And I say that because the other guy, he was retired military. He talked about proposals. Now, proposing, as they say in the military, means it's already happened. It already happened. Now, the only way that we're going to stop things like this from happening is, for one, you can't keep coming in here saying what we're going to propose when you already had done. You got to be truthful about it. Stop doing that. Because what you do is, you have an angry set of people that comes out and they say, and they hear, because guess what? All they hear all the time is what we're going to do, what we're going to do, and then you go behind our back and you do something different. There you go. You talk about the 1% tax. You know what that 1% tax get me every time I hit one of them potholes? I drive a Mercedes-Benz, do the math. It costs me. It costs me, because guess what? When I call the city to tell them that I hit a pothole and I knocked my car loose, they tell me there's nothing we can do about it. So it costs me more money with my 1% that I'm not even seeing already. There's a 1% tax that we pay already. Now, you said when you was talking to that young man that we was going to be paying like a 1% sales tax or whatever the case may be, because you didn't have the mic all the way up to your phone to hear all of it. But you talked about the loan and how we was going to pay it back. And you said something about a 1% sales tax. But our 1% sales tax ain't even getting us the right roads. So I know it ain't going to get us the right school.
Yeah, okay, just I'm going to put this mic up because the 1 cent sale tax, it's called East Blast.
Mm-hmm.
It's for schools. It's not for roads. It's not for infrastructure. The city passes taxes on that. So the East Blast is a school program. And what I'm going to promise you is $43 million.
Don't promise. Don't do that. You already starting
out
wrong.
The decision is made.
That's all we needed to hear right there. I'll drop the mic. The decision is made that y'all have already decided to go ahead and do everything.
To spend $43 million on this
Have a blessed day, sir.
And you have a blessed day too. The promise is made to spend $43 million on this site. It's to rebuild and to invest. It is.
You can't come in here and decide to make a decision and then ask us for our opinion.
The board, wait, hold on. The board, that's not a decision to rebuild the school.
They're hearing us, but nobody is listening.
Hold on. Can I answer? Just, you're right.
You gotta be able to hear and you gotta be able to listen.
You're right. It's two different things.
And you gotta be able to do what? Oh, okay.
So, you're right. It's two different things. The decision to spend $43 million has been made to be invested right here. You're right. So, okay.
All right, so I just want to say first, Josey isn't just a school for me, it's a legacy. All my people have came from Josey. My mama, my daddy, my brother, I got aunties, uncles, whole lot of lineage that came from here. Without Josey, I wouldn't be here. My parents, they met here at this very school. Y'all don't understand, it's different. I've been to every single school in the city, for real. Like, I've been to A.R. Johnson, I've been to Davidson, I've been to all the magnet schools. I started in the magnet school. It's nothing like Josey. When I came here, I felt something different. I felt the family, I felt love, trust. Y'all never gonna get that if y'all don't come here. This person right beside me, this my #1 competitor. Every time I step in the classroom, I'm thinking, dang, what grades LaCara got? I'm trying to beat LaCara. I'm trying to be valedictorian, that's why I came here. This my competition right here. Y'all don't understand that. It's a different level. It's a different level of bondage when you come here. I got teachers behind me every single day. I walk in that office late every morning. I see Ms. Williams. She gonna say something to me. We gonna laugh. I'm gonna go to class happy. Every morning, I'm gonna see Ms. Huff in that hallway. She gonna say, good morning. I'm gonna see Ms. Stan. She gonna tell me turn in my work. Every single morning, these people are setting me up for greatness. I would never think I was gonna succeed the way I have. When I went to them schools before, I was too comfortable. I ain't feel like I was gonna get nowhere for real. When I came here, I felt that. I knew, okay, I got a future. I ain't never understood my future more than when I was at Josey. I never thought I was gonna be able to go to college for real. I'm thinking in my head like, dang, that's a lot of money. I came here, these people telling me like, you got all these scholarships, you got all these opportunities. These people opening doors for me every single morning. I come in here, y'all don't understand. I ain't never sat in no classroom and be like, wow, I'm really learning something. I really understand this. I'm teaching other people. Y'all understand what I'm saying? Like, it's a different level when you come to this school. It's more than just a school to me. This family, this blood. Every morning I'm coming in here, I'm ready to see my friends. I'm ready to see my people. Like, y'all not understanding that. I got a 3.97. All this time, I sat here with a 3.1, struggling, fighting. I had a 3.7 for so long, 3.1 for so long. I came to this school with 3.97, like, dang. You see what I'm saying? Because these people pushed me. These people cared about me. You feel me? I go home, my mama proud. Like, y'all don't understand that. My brother, he graduated with the little bit he had. He was a quarantine graduate. Y'all know what that mean? That boy didn't get to walk across no stage. I do, and y'all taking that from me. This is my last year. You see what I'm saying? Like, y'all understand the type of stuff that we go through every morning. Y'all separating us up. I'm not gonna care about school. Y'all see what I'm saying? Like, I come in here every day, ready to fight, ready to see, damn, what I'm gonna do today? What grades I'm gonna get? I ain't gonna be able to do that if I go to another school. I'm gonna have to go to Laney. Yeah, I got friends there, but they not Lakara, they not Yasmin's, they not Man-Mans, they not Daryl, they not none of that. They not gonna push me like how this school pushed me. My teachers push me every single morning. Are y'all hearing me? Y'all not gonna get that. Y'all not gonna get that level of dedication, that level of success. I see people from my past, people that's been here before me that's succeeding. I see people who got clothing brands, they got businesses, they being somebody. Y'all not gonna get that without no Josey.
That's yours. Watch out. Close this out.
No, he's decided that I spoke already when he took the mic. Did y'all see him take the mic out my hand? No. Huh? Oh, okay. So everybody making this up, you're the only clear-headed one here? Come on.
Can you join me up here, ma'am?
Yeah, sure.
What's your name?
My name is Shirley Robinson.
Hey,
class
Miss
of
Robinson.
98.
Class of 98, we got the same age. Ms. Robinson, can you say what you need to say in 2 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay.
I sure can. So again, I came up here to inform the people, the constituents, the taxpayers, the voters, the power that you still do have. Please don't leave this here gym feeling powerless, feeling like that lady, the retired lady that just stormed out of here said they done already decided. Like I saw the defeat in her walk away. We ain't defeated, y'all. November the 3rd. They have to disclose how they voted on this. And that can dictate the way that you vote. They won't get to keep not giving us answers, not allocating those funds properly, not being able to tell us how they even got allocated or where what went. Because I got a lot of sentences and words said to me at that lunch, but no answers. Now, I'm back. As of 2023, I live here now. I pay taxes on 3. I'm going to be a financial thorn in the Board of Education side. Y'all are gonna have to be transparent with me. I'm gonna insist upon it, and I'm gonna blare it all over everywhere. If there's any improprieties, if there's any misallocations, if there's any backroom deals with developers from MCG to the Georgia Reach for this land, I'm gonna find it. I promise you that. This is not a threat. This isn't a personal attack. This is a promise. This is a promise to avoid your names on the ballot like the plague if you close this school. If you change the name, if you mess with the colors of the mascots, or you don't allow these children to cross that stage, that baby just sat up here and told you she ain't gonna get the same effort at another building. They telling you this, these students, and you'll still send them there. And you can go sleep at night on your sleep numbers. On your I'm sure you got really good mattresses, $3,000 ones from Mattress Firms, the ones that let up and down and zero gravity and all. And y'all gonna sleep great because you don't live here. You said that at the lunch. This ain't affecting your property taxes. This ain't affecting you and your children and the legacy here. Y'all should have heard Deion Grant at the luncheon talk about how these sport programs saved him from the streets of Southside, out the projects of Southside. He goes on to do so much for this community, for other communities, because of the athletics here. And they can't even be specific on what athletics will return. So no, we need answers. We need transparency, and we got a bunch of nothing from y'all tonight. And we're sick of it. And we're going to show you how sick of it we are. When, y'all?
Thank you, ma'am.
Good evening. My name is Stan Williams, and tonight I want to tell you what this school has done for me. A little bit about my life here at Josey. I'm a graduate in the first graduating class from Josey, 1966. And after graduation, I entered into the military. And I met my wife here when I was at Josey. After the military, I came home, married my high school sweetheart, Gwen Williams. We've been married now for 54 years. We have 3 kids, 3 grandkids. And I'm a retiree from the state of Georgia. She is also a state retiree. I was a retired forensic technician. And after retirement, I got into real estate. And I'm a 25-year veteran of real estate. And we are homeowners. We got, as I said, we have 3 lovely grandkids. And this is what this school has done for me. And I'm hoping that some of the kids here can testify, as I'm testifying tonight, what this school has done for me. Now, this lady, we've been married 54 years now. And we both have had successful working careers, very successful. So I want to say, I'm hoping that school will stay. I do understand the numbers that the gentleman described. And as my classmate, Irvin White, said, if you look around the neighborhood, all you see is grown-up lots now, where homes where kids used to live, it doesn't exist anymore. South Side is gone. Hyde Park is gone. I remember when I was in school here, kids from Hyde Park, South Side, and you had a thriving community all around Josey. All of that is gone now. So we have to take all of that in consideration. That there was a need back in the early 60s, but the need is just about fading away. Now, as Reverend Williams said, you have to rebuild. And I want to say this, I served on the city board for 4 years. Carlos Ivy here was one of my colleagues on the Housing and Development Board. We did a lot at revitalizing the middle city, and we got the Twig Street corridor built, but we never did get a chance to make it out to this area. But it takes money. It takes money coming from Washington, D.C. to build communities. And I do understand that. But now, if we can find a way to put those houses back, take a ride around the neighborhood yourself. You'll see where homes used to be, there are grown-up lots now, all up and down 15th Street. The only house I see that's still standing is the Carpenter family on the corner of DeWitt and 15th Street. That's the only house that I see where homes where kids used to go to school here, up and down Sunset Avenue. I remember when students used to live at this grown-up lot, that grown-up lot. All of that is gone now. So take that into consideration. I know we don't want to see the school go, but you have to look at what is reality. Reality is everything is gone. Now, back in 1963-64, I was a sophomore at Lucy Laney High School. There were 700 people expected to be graduating in my class. They couldn't house us all at Laney. So they moved the prison from here to Tobacco Road, and they built this school. They had to, because there was a need. And what I'm saying is that you had a thriving community all around Josey. And you had about 700 people that were due to graduate from Laney. So they had to split our class up. Half stayed over at Laney, the other half came to Josey. And we came here during the year of 1964-65 as juniors, graduated in the year of 1965-66. So there was a need. But that need is just about fading away. I know you're putting the pressure on the board members here tonight, but the board members cannot go out and build these houses back. I mean, and they can't put High Park back where it used to be, or South Side. All of that is gone. I'd love to see it stay. This is where I met my wife. This is where my life began. But we have to face reality. So the reality is that there's no need anymore. And if you in real estate, you start building it back. There you go. Well, I'm retired from real estate now. I don't have the money. You know, we sat on the same board with the city. And you know what kind of money it takes to build communities. You have to get the funding from the federal government.
And my concern is more with the commission, because they could do more to rehabilitate this community.
Right. And you were also a city council person.
I didn't get up and say something, but you know I got a vested interest from the first brick to the last.
Yes, I understand.
My mom helped plan Joseph for 19. That's right. She also helped Mr. Reese in planning Joseph.
I remember those days.
Now, I have a love for Joseph that now a lot won't understand. I told him 2 years ago, it would be over my dead body that they close this school. And if I had a gun tonight, he might be dead.
We didn't hear, we didn't, okay. So I understand. So we will not have threats. It was a threat. We will not, so we will not have threats. We can't have threats because a conversation cannot happen when we refuse to hear and listen to each other. So let me say this. Thank you, sir, very much. We hear you, and we are listening. I would like to say something in response to what the young lady said about in the military. I was in the military. I'm a veteran myself, and I'm a veteran myself, And the difference between there and here is that there are different standards that the military are judged by. One of the things I would like to clarify is no decision has not been made. No, it hasn't. And I'll stand on that. Because what happens is our integrity, and I can't speak for nobody else about their integrity, but I can speak for mine. No decision has not been made. Because this is a plan. The young lady that was sitting here beside me, this is how I explained it to her. I asked, were they married? And she said, no, not yet. I said, he's going to propose to you. And you're going to set a date. We have an idea of how we want our wedding to look like. But somewhere along the way, some things happen. We may have to change venues. We may have to change dates. But we know we're going to get married because we're in the proposal area. 9 out of the 10 board members were here. And some of the same questions that you've had, we've asked. I took notes. We asked about when we had a presentation at the board member meeting about gangs. And we said, with all the different gangs that's happening in our neighborhoods, how are we thinking about mixing kids from different neighborhoods? How are we going to work that out? Are we going to propose more SROs? Are we going to be able to have mediation? Like, what is that going to look like? We can't spend money, and I think he addressed that. If you've ever had a business, you know that as a business owner, you cannot spend your business money on personal things. Every year, the Board of Education is audited by a third party, and that audit is released. You are welcome at any time to contact the Board of Education and request a copy of the audit. We have to turn it in to the state. No decision has been made, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm telling you, as a person who lives in this community, that we are here because we want to hear your ideas. Yes, we did do Richmond Academy, and they were in portables. That's an idea. Every board member on here has proposed some kind of idea. But we want to have an opportunity to hear what you have to say. One of the things I always say is, not one person know everything, but if you get us all together to work together, somebody in this room has an answer. And that's what the meetings are about. I know that you're attached to your school and the history. This school was built in 1965. It has been updated twice, and that's just within the past 20 years. As Ms. Robinson said, you deserve a better building. You deserve to have state-of-the-art classrooms. You deserve to have more programs. How are we going to have competitive education? Everybody compares us to Columbia County. But you know what Columbia County does? They don't necessarily listen to their people. They make the decisions that's best for their students and their goals. But here we are in front of you, listening to you call us by any name but who we are, accusing us of using money. But we're here to hear you and to work with you to figure out what the best solution is. A proposal is an idea. And if everybody has an idea about the proposal, then let's work together to find a better idea. The ones that will keep our children first. No person that is employed at Josey or Jenkins White or Murphey will lose a job. Nobody. We were adamant about that as a board. If you are employed with Richmond County School System, you will stay employed with Richmond County School System unless you decide to leave. I have 3 daughters that graduated from Richmond County school system. And the one thing I take pride in is that my village surrounded my daughters to help them when I was struggling. I was a homeless parent living out of a motel on the corner of Gordon Highway and North Leg Road because I had no other choice. And it was the teachers and my community that rallied around me and my daughters to help us be better. And that same community can rally around these students to also help them be better. House Bill 521 says a parent can choose to send a student to any school within the district as long as that school has room. Maybe one of the questions we should ask is, how can we get parents to use that House bill to send their students to Josey? We deserve, and when I say we, I mean a community. We deserve a state-of-the-art school. And if that means maybe we might have to be in the portables for 2 or 3 years, maybe. Maybe we might can use Tubman, maybe. But Tubman's in a bad shape too, so it's like going from bad to worse. But there are solutions in this room. And all I ask is that when you come to the next meeting and the next meeting, between then and now, please write out your ideas. After each meeting, our administration will be here, board members will be here, because we can't fix this by ourselves. It's going to take you supporting us, helping us, working with us. We want to hear you. I take notes every time. But we have not made a decision. What we did vote on was for the proposal to be presented. That's what we voted on. We voted on the proposal that was shown here to be presented to the community. And we are going to hear what you have to say and then take those things and come back on February 10th, and we're going to make a decision. And everybody's not going to like it. Some people are going to be for it. There's going to be people, if we decide to keep the school and do the portables, they're not going to like it. There's going to be some people, if we decide to put them in another school and remodel the school, they're not going to like it. But one thing that we talk about as a board is what's best for the 30,000 kids? What's best for the students of Josey? Not what's best for the alumni, not what's best my mom and them. I get all of that because history is important. But I want our students to have a state-of-the-art school. I don't want our students going to Columbia County. I don't want our students coming out of the neighborhoods. I live in East Augusta, right behind Hornsby. I on my commissioner all the time about, hey man, my street's still flooding. I want us to be open to hearing different ideas and keeping in mind not what it was when you were here, but what it can be. Because what's happening is the world is changing, and we do not want our students to get left behind. We want our students to come into a classroom that prepares them to have a job in 2035. Because some of the stuff, sir, I can imagine that in 1966, you couldn't even have fathomed what we're doing in 2025. So in 2025, we can't fathom what they'll be doing in 2050. And we want our kids to have the best opportunity. If that means that we got to sit down with each other and figure this thing out, then folks, that's what we need to do. We don't have no control over the city, ma'am, and I wish that is one of our desires is for us to work with the commissioners, because a lot of the times the decision, and here's transparency, since we want to be transparent, a lot of decisions that the city makes twist our hands in the decisions that we make. Well then, ma'am, I want you to call all your commissioners, but as of right now, here's the thing, we're here. We're here. So let me ask you this, ma'am. Let me ask you this. We're here. So now what? Do we keep arguing about it? Or do we find a solution that makes it better? Okay, so that's in November 3rd, ma'am. We take this vote in February. So what do? Do we just wait and give up till November the 3rd and you kick those people out and then some other people come in and they're still faced with the same decisions that the city make that rolls down to us, that the state make? Or do you and I sit down together and we talk and we work and we try to figure out a way to make sure this school gets the best that it can get? The name, listen, the name is important. We cannot, and I'm not going to argue with anybody. The name is important. The history is important. You present us the name, we're going to vote for it. But what I want us to focus on is our students. They deserve to have the best facilities. Our teachers deserve to have the best resources. And our community deserve to have a best school in the community. So we can work together on that. Our board meeting is next week. Please come. Please come. No, it's not. No, it's not, because, and I'll say this to you. We don't respond because the superintendent runs the system, and the superintendent has someone to reach out from her administration to reach out to respond to the concerns. No, we don't call you. No, ma'am. The Board of Education don't call you because we don't run the school system. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The last 2 weeks ago, I want to say it 2 weeks ago. Yes. So that was something separate, but we have a board meeting, 864 Broad Street. We have our committee and board meeting next Tuesday, starting at 4 o'clock. At the end of the board meeting, we have public comment. You can call, request to be on for public comment. We here. Our superintendent makes sure someone responds. Our superintendent doesn't run. Our deputy superintendents, our staff member, we face the tough questions. So we're going to fix this. It's going to take a partnership of the community. All we vote on is the solutions that's presented to us. So if you have a solution, please offer it up. With the gentlemen and the women that stays back in the back, please offer it up. Because they will put it together and present us with another proposal, and we either vote yay or nay. We tried to meet with the commissioners, ma'am. You can't force nobody to do what they don't want to do. Well then, ma'am, that's not on us, because I'm just one vote. I'm just one vote. Okay? So I thank everyone for coming. We will have our next meeting. Michael, you'll tell us about our next meeting. Please come. Please come. Share your ideas. If you have an idea, send it to one of our emails. We'll pass it on to our administration. We want to get the answers that make sure our students get the best facilities. It's not going to be easy. It's not. Nobody's going to stand up here and tell you that it's not. It's not, that it is. It's not going to be easy. But a decision must be made. And we need your help to make the decision. You're welcome. And we are trying our best to do that, ma'am, and that's why we're here to take the questions.
And right, and we will be here. Staff members will be here to talk. Listen, the 26th at 6 p.m. Barton Chapel. That's the community meeting for Barton Chapel. And the 27th at noon, that will be at Central Office down on Broad Street. So make sure you come out for that. Real quick, I want you to understand this as
The same thing.
same thing. Public hearings.
We have 3 of them.
Public hearing. Excuse me. I'm sorry. Thank you. Those are the public hearings, and I want to make sure and we'll be here to continue the conversation and to talk real quick, because as again we talk about the liaison between moving things, understanding communications. I will be here to give my information. Also, if anybody wants to take this down, my number. You can send me a text. You can email me. If you have a question, send it in. We have a website that is running that will keep up. Ms. Haley, they are continuing to monitor questions. This is so important to us to make sure that, ma'am.
Can you let them know that the meetings will be announced on the board website and our social media?
Right. All the meetings, the information is out already, but we will make sure we again put them out so that you can have the dates and the times. We are doing everything we can to continue the process of transparency, to make sure people understand the information, what's going on, and when you can be a part of the conversation. All right? The 26th at 4 p.m. at Barton Chapel, the 27th, 6 p.m., 26th at Barton Chapel, 6 p.m., 27th, 12 noon at Central Office. My phone number, 706-945-6002. Text me, send me an email, call, I will get back to you. I want you to understand, this is how important it is to the board members, to superintendent, executive staff, that we have this communication. We do not want a question unanswered. Please, stick around. We'll be here to answer these things. You good? Yes, thank you so much. So, I heard a lot of great things. Yes, and don't forget the signs are up if you have direct questions for certain places, transportation, teaching, finance, those things. Everyone have a good night. We look forward to seeing you. I'm here. We look forward to seeing you on the 26th for our next one. Oh, next week, we have a school board meeting, so please come back for that.